Chapter 235. The Southern Wasteland's Broken Demon Mountain was located in the central region of the Southern Wasteland. It was also the front line of the alliance formed by the major forces of the Southern Wasteland. In the Broken Demon Mountain, the major forces of the Southern Wasteland imitated the demon-killing alliance of the Central Plains, and formed the Southern Wasteland Alliance to fight countless battles of life and death with the Demon Clan. At this moment, all the forces of the Southern Wasteland Alliance were engaged in a fierce and cruel battle with the surging demon army. The vast battlefield covered a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles. Whether in the sky or on the ground, countless powerhouses of the Southern Wasteland were risking their lives to resist the Devil Race. In the army of the Southern Wasteland Alliance, there were also reinforcements from the Central Plains. The major forces of the Central Plains were old rivals of the Devil Race. Although they had defeated the Devil Race in the Central Plains and trapped the Devil Race in the central region of the Celestial Devil Mountain Range, none of the major forces dared to underestimate the Devil Race. They had taken out all of their strength and trump cards to fight the Devil Race. The attacks of the Demon Clan were getting more and more powerful, and they were unstoppable. Looking from afar, the demon flame seemed to cover the sky, and it was as if the Southern Wasteland Alliance was being devoured by the demon flame. Although they had the support of the major forces of the Central Plains, the number of people and strength they had sent was less than 1/10 of the total. In addition, the actions of the demon race were sudden. Even if the major forces of the Central Plains wanted to send reinforcements, they couldn't send too many people in a short period of time. At this moment, at the rear of the Southern Wasteland Alliance, looking at the dangerous situation, the leaders of the Southern Wasteland forces were very anxious. The Southern Wasteland Alliance had already sent all the forces in the Southern Wasteland that they could mobilize. They also had the support of the Demon-Slaying Alliance in the Central Wasteland. However, in the face of the Demon-Slaying Alliance, they were still losing ground. The total area of the Southern Wasteland was about half the size of the Central Plains. However, the Southern Wasteland was much worse than the Central Plains in terms of natural power, cultivation resources, and other aspects. In the Southern Wasteland, the most powerful forces were the 72 Holy Lands and 800 Super Forces. Beneath the 72 Holy Lands and 800 Super Forces, there were thousands of first-rate, second-rate, and third-rate forces. During the hundreds of years of fighting against the Devil Clan, all the forces in the Southern Wasteland had consumed too much of their vitality. Countless powerful warriors and outstanding talents had fallen in the battle against the Devil Clan. As a result, the overall strength of the major forces in the Southern Wilderness did not increase at all since the recovery of the world. On the contrary, they were constantly being depleted. The current overall power of the Southern Wasteland was less than 1/30th of that of the Central Plains. The ancient mystic Sacred Land was one of the more powerful sacred lands among the 72 sacred lands in the Southern Wasteland. Right now, the Sacred Lord of the ancient mystic Sacred Land was anxiously looking at the unfavorable situation ahead. He sighed and said, "This time, the actions of the demon race were too sudden. I don't know when the reinforcements from the Central Plains will arrive." As soon as he finished speaking, the Holy Master of the Tiani Holy Land said, "No matter how fast they are, they still need time to gather their forces before they can rush over. The Central Plains is too far away from us. We need to use a super teleportation array to get here. It will take them at least 2 days to reach us." The Holy Master of the Divine Feather Holy Land said, "2 days is too long. The forces of the demon race in the battlefield are still increasing rapidly. We are also at a complete disadvantage in the battle against the Myth State warriors in the sky. If this continues, we may not be able to resist for 2 days." The Holy Master of the Black Saber Holy Land looked at the demon race in the distance and said firmly, "No matter what price we have to pay, we have to resist them." This time, the super overlords of the Central Plains, the Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 sacred lands have already proposed to the demon-killing alliance that they will provide us with great support and strive to drive the demon race out of the southern wasteland. This is our only chance. Don't forget that only the broken demon mountain, where the Southern Wasteland Alliance is located, has a super teleportation array. Once we are defeated and the super teleportation array is destroyed by the demon race, the reinforcements from the Central Plains will not be able to arrive. Then, we will have no chance at all. The Holy Master of the ancient mystic sacred land, who spoke first, said, "Yes, you are right. Once we can't resist them, we will be doomed eternally. The super teleportation array is too precious, and the materials used to construct it are very rare. Even the powerful Central Plains doesn't have a lot of them. The only 3 super teleportation arrays we have were built with the help of the Hao Ranjin sect. We definitely can't lose them. Maybe when the time comes we will also have to fight with our lives on the line." Just as they were talking, the leader of the team sent by the Hao Ranjin sect to support the Southern Wasteland Alliance, Li Changhe, walked in with a joyful expression. Seeing Li Changhe, the Holy Masters and the Masters of the Super Forces in the Southern Wasteland Alliance's main hall all stood up. The Holy Master of the ancient mystic sacred land asked with a solemn expression, "Elder Li, what brings you here?" The Masters of the Super Forces in the Southern Wasteland had to be serious. First of all, Li Changhe was sent by the Hao Ranjin sect to support the Southern Wasteland. His martial arts cultivation had already reached the pinnacle of Wu Xing's realm. 2 or 3 ordinary pinnacle Wu Xing were no match for him. He was much more powerful than the Masters of the Super Forces in the Southern Wasteland. Moreover, the Masters of the Super Forces in the Southern Wasteland knew the fighting strength of the 30,000 people sent by the Hao Ranjin sect. Especially when fighting against the Devil Clan, they were simply the nemesis of the Devil Clan. No matter if it was a one-on-one battle or a group battle, as long as the difference in cultivation level and number of people was not too great, the Devil Clan would not be able to defeat the people of the Hao Ranjin sect. On the battlefield, the people of the Hao Ranjin sect were simply the source of the Devil Clan's hatred. As long as the people of the Hao Ranjin sect appeared, the Devil Clan would go crazy. They would not care about the people of the other forces and would be very determined to destroy the people of the Hao Ranjin sect first. This also made the Masters of the Super Forces in the Southern Wasteland believe the rumors in the Central Plains that the Hao Ranjin sect was the mortal enemy of the Devil Clan. Moreover, the Super Forces in the Southern Wasteland were actually grateful to the Hao Ranjin sect. After all, it was the Hao Ranjin sect who first proposed to support the Southern Wasteland. Later on, the Hao Ranjin sect also supported the Southern Wasteland a lot. Not to mention other things, even the super teleportation formation was built with the help of the Hao Ranjin sect. Moreover, it was also the Hao Ranjin sect who proposed to support the Southern Wasteland and strive to drive the Devil Clan out of the Southern Wasteland. Although they had not personally been to the Tiangang Peak of the Hao Ranjin sect, there was no doubt that as long as they were not ungrateful people, they would be grateful to the Hao Ranjin sect. Seeing the people of the Super Forces in the Southern Wasteland stand up, Li Changhe did not care too much. He said happily to the crowd, "Haha, there is nothing else. I came here to tell you a piece of good news. The 1.4 million troops of the Hao Ranjin sect have set off. In less than 2 hours, the army of the Hao Ranjin sect will arrive. When the time comes, I will let these bastards know how powerful the Hao Ranjin sect is. These bastards always bully us with numbers. I have long wanted to kill them. When the army of the sect arrives, I will kill them all." Li Changhe's news was too sudden for the Masters of the Super Forces in the Southern Wasteland. They could not believe it. The Sacred Master of the Black Saber Sacred Master said excitedly, "Elder Li, is what you said true? Your sect is too far away from the Broken Demon Mountain. How can you arrive in such a short time? It is impossible even if you use the super teleportation formation." Li Changhe laughed and said, Who said that the army of the Hao Ranjin sect is going to use the super teleportation formation? That thing is too troublesome. Under the leadership of the young master, the Hao Ranjin sect spent countless resources and materials, mobilized a huge amount of manpower, and built the Void Teleportation Formation in 3 years. The Void Teleportation Formation can teleport 100,000 people at a time. The teleportation range is more than 30 billion miles. We can teleport to the Broken Demon Mountain in one go. This time, in order to completely drive the devil race out of the southern wasteland, we will inflict heavy losses on them. Our righteous sect's young sect master will personally lead 10 Myth Realm elites here. The war fortresses and sky patrol battleships that we spent decades building will also come here. At that time, the demons will be dead. The amount of information contained in Li Changhe's words shocked the masters of the super forces in the southern wasteland, making them deeply feel the gap between them and the Hao Ranjin sect. Our super teleportation formation can't even be built by ourselves, but you guys have actually built a super powerful void teleportation formation, and the war fortress and sky patrol warships that we spent decades building. Just from the sound of it, they knew that these things were very powerful. How can you guys be so awesome? Is this the gap between us and the super forces of the Central Plains? As if to prove Li Changhe's words, when the masters of the super forces in the southern wasteland were still digesting what Li Changhe had just said, they heard a loud rumbling sound that shook the sky. Everyone who heard the sound came to the outside of the Southern Wasteland Alliance Hall and looked at the sky where the sound came from. They saw a huge space crack slowly appearing and expanding, as if some powerful force was tearing the void apart. The rumbling sound that shook the sky was caused by the expansion of the space crack. Finally, a huge space crack that was 100 miles wide and 1 mile high appeared in the sky thousands of miles away. Such a huge movement spread across the whole battlefield, attracting the attention of everyone, including the devil race. In front of everyone's shocked eyes, a huge fortress that was 50 miles long and had its defense fully activated and shining with golden light appeared from the space crack. It quickly passed through the space crack and appeared on the battlefield of the Broken Demon Mountain. When the fortress appeared completely, a majestic and heavy boundless pressure filled the void. Seeing the huge fortress shining with golden light that suddenly appeared, all the members of the devil race felt a familiar and disgusting power, and a bad premonition arose in their hearts. At this time, Li Changhe used his magic power to make his voice spread as far and as wide as possible. He said loudly, "This is the war fortress of my Hao Ranjin sect. My Hao Ranjin sect's army has arrived." Just as Li Changhe finished speaking, the golden light of the war fortress in the sky dissipated, and then 2 golden flowing lights with a vast aura flew out from the war fortress. After the 2 golden flowing lights appeared, they stopped in the sky above the battlefield of the Broken Demon Mountain. Then, the flowing lights dissipated, and 2 figures appeared in front of everyone's eyes. These 2 people were the Myth Realm experts of the Hao Ranjin sect who had arrived first. Both of them were at the late stage of the first sky of the Myth Realm. As soon as they appeared, they released their peak aura with all their strength. The masculine aura of the Haoran filled the world, and the vast aura of the 2 made the space within 100,000 miles surged. Even the dark world and monstrous demon flames caused by the devil race's army were scattered a little by the aura of the 2 Haoran. Looking up at the battle of the Myth Realm experts in the sky, one of them said to the elder who was in charge of the war fortress, "We are going up. The battle below is left to you." After that, the 2 turned into 2 golden lights that pierced through the dark clouds and went straight to the battlefield of the 9 heavens. After the 2 Myth Realm experts disappeared, the war fortress that was originally suspended in the void changed again. From the huge fortress, 8 huge flying ships appeared one after another, and then flew in the sky side by side. Seeing them, the leaders of the major forces in the southern wasteland knew that these should be the sky patrol battleships that Li Changhe had mentioned. Chapter 236. launch an all-out attack and destroy the damn Hao Ranjin sect. Countless experts of the demon clan who had fought against the demon-slaying alliance in the Central Plains and survived looked at the huge fortresses and spaceships floating in the sky with resentment and issued the order for an all-out attack. Instantly, countless experts of the Wu Zun realm and the Wu Xing realm swarmed toward the battle fortress and the Sky Patrol battleship. Looking at the swarming demons, the battle fortress and the 8 Sky Patrol battleships of the Hao Ranjin sect all activated their defensive formations to the maximum extent. 9 golden suns of different sizes seemed to appear in the sky, and then they directly crashed toward the demons. The huge battle fortress and the 8 Sky Patrol battleships streaked across the sky with golden light and crashed into the demons at an extremely fast speed. Countless experts of the Wu Zun realm and the Wu Xing realm who did not react in time were smashed into pieces by the battle fortress and the Sky Patrol battleships and were seriously injured. After crashing into the area of countless experts of the demon clan, the battle fortress and the Sky Patrol battleships carefully built by the Hao Ranjin sect showed their ferocious and cruel fangs. The people of the Hao Ranjin sect in the battle fortress and the 8 Sky Patrol battleships started the Dark Light Tower one after another. The Dark Light Tower could emit 3 kinds of divine light attack. The first kind was the Divine Purification Light, which could purify and eliminate all the negative energy and living creatures in the world. It was the absolute nemesis of the demon clan. The second kind was the Divine Destruction Light, which would form an extreme ray of light when emitted. It had a very powerful destructive power, which could destroy experts of the 4th heaven of the myth realm at its peak. The third kind was the Divine Metamagnet Light, which could attack the vital spirit and divine soul of a practitioner and produce a distorted effect, which could destroy the practitioner's body and soul. Facing the demons, the people of the Hao Ranjin sect in the battle fortress and the Sky Patrol battleships all chose to use the Divine Purification Light. When countless experts of the demon clan were crazily attacking the battle fortress and the Sky Patrol battleships, 1 big and 8 small purifying halos formed by the Divine Purification Light spread out in all directions. In order to kill as many demons as possible, the battle fortress and the patrol battleship adjusted the Divine Purifying Light attack of the Profound Light Pagoda to the maximum power while defending. The purifying halo emitted by a battle fort could cover an area of 50,000 miles, while the purifying halo emitted by a patrolling battleship could cover an area of 10,000 miles. Just when the people of the Southern Wasteland Alliance were worried about the people of the Hao Ranjin sect, who were besieged by the Devil Clan and wanted to rescue them but couldn't, 9 holy purification halos spread out from the Devil Clan's camp. The purifying halo spread out very quickly, covering a distance of 10,000 miles in an instant. The countless demon race powerhouses, who were not mentally prepared, didn't even have the time to escape before they were swept by the purifying halos and turned into ashes. The countless demon powerhouses that had surrounded the battle fortress and the Sky Patrol battleship were all annihilated in an extremely short period of time. The dazzling golden battle fortresses and patrolling battleships appeared in the sky once again, while the devilish army that had originally blotted out the sky was cleared out in a radius of 70,000 kilometers. This sudden turn of events caused the warriors of the Devil Clan and the Southern Wasteland Alliance to be filled with both sorrow and joy. Countless demons stared blankly at the purifying halos that were gradually dissipating in the sky, as well as the empty space of tens of thousands of kilometers. A feeling of despair welled up in their hearts. Could it be that the Hao Ranjin sect was really the nemesis of the Devil Clan? Why were they always defeated and suffered heavy losses every time they faced the Hao Ranjin sect? The demons were stunned, but the battle fortress and the 8 patrolling battleships operated by the people of the Hao Ranjin sect didn't stay in a daze. Instead, they continued to pursue and expand their victory. Therefore, under the dumbfounded despair of the demons and the ecstasy of the Southern Wasteland Alliance, The battle fortress and the patrolling battleships once again advanced towards the rear of the Devil clan, crashing into countless demon powerhouses at an extremely fast speed. Then, under the despairing gazes of countless demons, another 9 purifying halos rose up, clearing out all the demons in a radius of 70,000 kilometers once again. Releasing the divine purifying light to the greatest extent twice consumed 60% of the energy storage of the battle fortress and the patrolling battleship. The soul-devouring disk crazily absorbed the energy between heaven and earth, replenishing the energy consumed by the battle fortress and the patrolling battleship. After wiping out countless demon powerhouses on a large scale twice in a row, the number of demon powerhouses on the sky battlefield, which covered hundreds of thousands of kilometers, was reversed. This time, Wu Zun and Wu Xing of the Southern Wasteland Alliance had the advantage in terms of numbers. The demons, who had suffered heavy losses, were frightened by the power of the battle fortress and the patrolling battleships of the Hao Ranjin sect. They immediately abandoned their opponents of the Southern Wasteland Alliance and retreated crazily. However, before the people of the Southern Wasteland Alliance could rejoice, a tyrannical evil aura suddenly appeared in the sky above the battlefield. Hao Ranjin sect, I want you to die. 2 blue-purple figures descended from the 9th heaven, thousands of kilometers high in the sky. Their aura was domineering, and the wind and clouds within hundreds of thousands of kilometers were surging. The evil aura was surging, and the evil aura filled the space. Glancing around the entire sky battlefield, they saw the demons retreating crazily in fear. One of the demon gods said with a gloomy face, "Humph, a bunch of trash. You can't even handle such a small thing." Then, he looked at the battle fortress and the patrolling battleships, which were shining with golden light not far away with murderous intent. The 2 demon gods, who were more powerful than the myth realm powerhouses of the Hao Ranjin sect, directly ignored the other 8 patrolling battleships, which were much smaller, and launched the most powerful attack on the largest battle fortress. The 300,000 disciples and elders of the Hao Oran sect in the battle fortress mobilized all their strength and added it to the defensive formation of the battle fortress. Suddenly, the golden light shone brightly. The 2 strongest attacks from the 2 demon gods of the second heaven of the myth realm had the most direct confrontation with the battle fortress, which was fully activated. Beyond the expectations of the 2 demon gods, the golden defensive light screen firmly resisted the attack. The powerful attacks of the 2 demon gods of the second heaven of the myth realm were in a stalemate with the 2 demon gods. Damn it! The 2 demon gods did not believe it and continued to attack the battle fortress. While the 2 demon gods were fighting with the battle fortress, the other 8 patrolling battleships were not idle either. The 24,000 people in the 8 battleships provided all their strength to the patrolling battleships, and then gathered all the energy of the battleships. 4 battleships formed a group and launched dragon-snaring lassos at the 2 demon gods. Dragon-snaring lassos were specially used to capture and bind the enemy. The 2 groups of patrolling battleships launched a total of 8 dragon-snaring lassos at the 2 demon gods, who were fighting with all their strength against the battle fortress. The 8 dragon-snaring lassos penetrated the void and instantly bound the 2 demon gods of the second heaven of the myth realm. It was not over yet. After launching the dragon-snaring lassos, the 8 patrolling battleships used 90% of their remaining energy to launch the divine rays of destruction. The 8 divine rays of destruction, which were powerful enough to kill a first heaven of the myth realm, hit the 2 demon gods of the second heaven of the myth realm as soon as the dragon-snaring lassos bound them. The 2 demon gods of the second heaven of the myth realm were immediately severely injured and stopped attacking the battle fortress. They had paid a heavy price for underestimating the 8 patrolling battleship. Before they could break free from the dragon-snaring lassos, the disciples and elders of Hauran in the battle fortress seized the opportunity and launched dragon-snaring lassos as well. The dragon-snaring lassos on the battle fortress were much more powerful than those on the patrolling battleship. 2 flashing dragon-snaring lassos were launched from the battle fortress and tightly bound the 2 demon gods, who were about to break free from the dragon-snaring lassos. At the same time, the mystic light tower on the battle fortress gathered a huge amount of energy and launched 2 divine rays of destruction. As the 2 demon gods of the second heaven of the myth realm roared with resentment and indignation, the 2 powerful divine rays of destruction instantly penetrated their bodies and souls. In less than 10 breaths, the 2 arrogant demon gods of the second heaven of the myth realm were completely wiped out by the patrolling battleships and the battle fortress because of their underestimation and wrong choice. In the short time since the battle began, the 2 consecutive attacks of the Purification Halo and the battle with the 2 demon gods not only wiped out countless demon experts, but also completely reversed the situation of the demon race and the Southern Wasteland Alliance in terms of experts below the myth realm, saving the Southern Wasteland Alliance from a precarious situation. They also completely wiped out the 2 demon gods of the second heaven of the myth realm. The battle fortress and the patrolling battleships that the Hao Ran Zhen sect spent countless resources to build finally did not disappoint. With their indisputable results, they showed everyone how powerful and terrifying they were. So powerful, so terrifying. Who can stop such invincible weapons? Looking absent-mindedly at the battle fortress and the patrolling battleships flying proudly in the sky, all the warriors of the Southern Wasteland Alliance and the people of the major forces of the Central Plains who came to support them were filled with shock and fear. Li Changhe's face was full of pride, and then he said to the shocked ancient mystic Saint Master and the others beside him, "These are the battle fortress and patrolling battleships that the Hao Ran Zhen sect spent a lot of effort to build. It seems that their power is not bad. By the way, this time, the Hao Ran Zhen sect has decided to send 3 battle fortresses and 30 patrolling battleships to support the Southern Wasteland Alliance. The remaining battle fortresses and patrolling battleships should still be in the process of being teleported, and they will arrive soon." F***CK. What the F***CK are you talking about? You are so crazy to send 3 battle fortresses and 30 patrolling battleships. Are you trying to scare us to death? How many people have you built in the Hao Ran Zhen sect? Do you need such a powerful lineup to fight the demon race? Are you thinking of taking care of us together with the demon race? Li Changhe did not care about the stunned and shocked expressions of the ancient mystic Saint Master and the others. Instead, he continued to say, "Everyone, the demon race has suffered heavy losses, and the situation has reversed. Should we launch a counterattack? We can't let the demon race escape so easily." Hearing Li Changhe's reminder, the ancient mystic Saint Master and the others recovered from their shock, adjusted their mentality, and then gave the order to launch an all-out attack. Chapter 237. Because of the sudden appearance of the War Fortress and the Sky Patrol battleship, the strength of the demons on the battlefield was greatly reduced. The warriors of the Southern Wasteland Alliance and the Central Plains launched an all-out counterattack. The War Fortress and the Sky Patrol battleship in the sky continued to pursue the demons. Although there was not much energy stored, the spirit-swallowing disk was constantly absorbing the energy between heaven and earth, and constantly replenishing it. The energy storage of the War Fortress and the Sky Patrol battleship was also rapidly recovering. They could not use powerful attacks that consumed a lot of energy, but they could control the strength of the attacks to kill the demons in a small area. So, whether it was the War Fortress or the Sky Patrol battleship, they each chose a direction, and then the God-destroying cannon, the Sky Yuan cannon, and the Dark Light Tower continuously bombarded the demons' camp. Countless demons were turned into ashes under the attacks of the War Fortress and the Sky Patrol battleship. And the warriors of the Southern Wasteland Alliance and the Central Plains who counterattacked the demons also followed behind the War Fortress and the Sky Patrol battleship, forming 9 teams and rushed to the defeated demons. Because of the War Fortress and the Sky Patrol battleship, the demons could not organize an effective defense, and could only be defeated all the way. and just when the warriors of the Southern Wasteland Alliance and the Central Plains were chasing the demons, the Second War Fortress and the 8 Sky Patrol battleships, which were late by 2 hours, also arrived in the sky above the Broken Demon Mountain through the Void Teleportation Formation. After coming out of the huge space crack, 2 Myth Realm warriors of the Hao Ranjun sect flew out of the War Fortress. After scanning the situation of the battlefield with their divine souls, the 2 Myth Realm warriors also turned into 2 golden light pillars that reached the sky, and went straight to the 9th Heaven battlefield to fight with the demon god of the demons. And the remaining War Fortress and the 8 Sky Patrol battleships also joined in the pursuit of the demons. With the War Fortress and the Sky Patrol battleship that were full of energy, powerful attacks penetrated the sky, and countless demons disappeared without a trace. The demons lost their fighting spirit and fled desperately. This made the warriors of the Southern Wasteland Alliance, who were used to being bullied by the demons, extremely excited, and they also desperately chased after the demons. At this time, high in the 9th heaven, extremely powerful and monstrous auras crisscrossed and tangled together in a chaotic battle. Attacks that could shatter mountains and split the earth tore through the air and created countless energy storms when they clashed against each other. The energy that spilled out cleansed the vast sky, and all living beings below Myth Realm who entered recklessly would be crushed by the rampaging energy. This was the battlefield of the Myth Realm warriors. In the mythical battlefield that affected tens of millions of miles of space, there were more than 300 mythical experts fighting fiercely with the devil god of the Devil Clan. Originally, the Southern Wasteland Alliance had more than 300 Myth Realm elites fighting bravely, but unfortunately, the demon race was stronger, and the number of demon gods was also greater. In the battle against the demon gods, the Southern Wasteland Alliance was at a disadvantage. Many Myth Realm elites were heavily injured or even killed by the demon race. Originally, they thought that they had already lost, but they didn't expect Righteousness's reinforcements to arrive so quickly. Demon of the Wasteland Alliance of Demon Realm of the Wasteland of the Demons of were of. Although they were still at a disadvantage, it also increased the fighting spirit of the Myth Realm elites of the Southern Wasteland Alliance. The demonic gods of the Devil Clan flew into a rage when they noticed that the 2 demonic gods of the second sky of the Myth Realm they had sent had been wiped out due to their carelessness. Just as they were about to send out another demon god to deal with the battle fortress, another battle fortress appeared. At the same time, 2 mythical elites from the Hao Ranjun sect came to the battlefield. The strength of the Southern Wasteland Alliance increased by another level. The Myth Realm elites from Hao Ranjun sect were not the only ones who had arrived. During this period of time, the Myth Realm elites from the various forces of power in the Chinese plains had also arrived at the battlefield of Broken Demon Mountain one after another through the super relocation matrix. Mobilizing an army required time, but the Myth Realm elites from the various factions of power did not need to go through so much trouble. They arrived at the battlefield of Broken Demon Mountain first. After seeing the battle fortress of the Hao Ranjun sect, the Myth Realm elites from the various factions of power were also very surprised. But now was not the time to be surprised. The Myth Realm elites who had arrived at the battlefield of Broken Demon Mountain immediately went straight to the sky and joined the battle against the Devil Clan. More and more Myth Realm elites from the Central Plains arrived and joined the Myth Realm battlefield. They fought against the demonic gods of the Devil Clan. In the vast sky, they wantonly unleashed powerful attacks and power. The Myth Realm elites from the various factions of the Central Plains had a deep-seated hatred for the Devil Clan. When the Devil Clan wreaked havoc in the ancient times, the Central Plains was a disaster area for the Devil Clan. It was also the first target for the Devil Clan to attack and kill with most of their forces. The strength of the Devil Clan that attacked the western regions, the southern wasteland, and the northern borderline was not as strong as the Devil Clan in the Central Plains at that time. In the ancient times, too many forces and creatures died in the hands of the Devil Clan. The strength of the various factions that survived was also greatly reduced compared to the peak of the Devil Clan. Therefore, almost all the Myth Realm elites from the Central Plains who had achieved Tao in the ancient times wanted to tear the Devil Clan into pieces. In the Central Plains, the Devil Clan did not come out. They had nowhere to vent their anger. But in the Southern Wasteland, when they saw the demonic gods of the Devil Clan, the Myth Realm elites from the Central Plains fought like crazy. They were completely desperate. As time went by, more and more Myth Realm elites arrived. The strength of the Southern Wasteland Alliance also became stronger and stronger. They were catching up with the Devil Clan. The Myth Realm elites and demonic gods in the Ninth Heaven had also noticed the Devil Clan's defeat below. Even if the demonic gods of the Devil Clan wanted to save the Devil Clan's decline, they were firmly held back by more and more Myth Realm elites from the Southern Wasteland Alliance. In such a stalemate, the third war fortress of the Hao Ranjin sect also arrived at the Broken Demon Mountain and also joined in the pursuit of the Devil Clan. Two more Myth Realm elites from the Hao Ranjin sect joined the battle. The Southern Wasteland Alliance's strength was already in a stalemate with the Devil Clan. The Devil Clan had already seen the power of the war fortresses. With 3 war fortresses and auxiliary sky patrol battleships, less than 10 demonic gods of the second sky of Myth Realm could not solve the threat of the war fortresses. It seemed that the Devil Clan's defeat today was a foregone conclusion. And the fact was indeed so. Although the reinforcements of the major forces in the Central Plains had not yet arrived, under the continuous attack of 3 war fortresses and 24 sky patrol battleships, the Devil Clan's defeat could no longer be described as a 1,000-mile defeat. It was simply a 1,000-mile defeat. They could not stop at all. Any defense and traps were useless under the attack of the war fortresses and sky patrol battleship. Every time the Sky Yuan Cannon, God-destroying spear, and Dark Light Tower attacked, the Devil Clan would lose a lot of elite. The Southern Wasteland Alliance's counterattack warriors followed behind the war fortresses and sky patrol battleship. That was a smooth and invincible road. The Devil Clan on the ground was defeated, but in the Myth Realm battlefield in the Ninth Heaven, the demonic gods of the Devil Clan were obviously not willing to retreat in vain. The situation that was originally in their grasp changed one after another. How could they be willing to lose? Since it was unrealistic to rescue the Devil Clan on the ground, they simply ignored it and attacked the Myth Realm elites of the Southern Wasteland Alliance. The victory or defeat in the Myth Realm battlefield was the key to determining the overall victory or defeat. As long as the Devil Clan won in the Myth Realm battlefield, no matter how hard the Southern Wasteland Alliance below tried, it would be in vain. The Devil Clan would still be the final winner. The demonic gods who abandoned the Devil Clan on the ground also let loose their hands and feet. They especially attacked those Myth Realm elites who were seriously injured. This made the Myth Realm elites of the Southern Wasteland Alliance and the Central Plains somewhat restrained. They had to spare a part of their strength to protect those who were injured. In this way, the Devil Clan gained the upper hand and pressed the Myth Realm elites of the Southern Wasteland Alliance and the Central Plains step by step. Chapter 238. Just when the Devil Clan gained the upper hand, the last 6 sky patrol battleships and Howran sect disciples, under the leadership of Yi Tianzong, finally arrived at the Broken Demon Mountain. After arriving at the location of the Southern Wasteland Alliance, Yi Tianzong used his golden eyes of illusion breaker to look at the sky hundreds of thousands of miles above. He saw that the Southern Wasteland Alliance and some mythical masters from the Central Plains were suppressed by the Devil Clan. Yi Tianzong ordered the 4 mythical realm masters who followed him to join the mythical battlefield, and then contacted the 2 war fortresses that were chasing the Devil Clan ahead. Knowing that the 2 war fortresses that arrived later still had sufficient energy, he let the people of the Hao Ranjin sect control the war fortresses to go straight to the sky. At the same time, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu also flew to the mythical battlefield high in the sky. The situation of the mythical battlefield changed because of the arrival of the two war fortresses. Although the two war fortresses were as large as a small city, it did not affect their flexibility at all. Under the command of Yi Tianzong, the two war fortresses shuttled back and forth in the mythical battlefield, constantly shooting out purifying light that restrained the Devil Clan. The purifying light condensed into light rays, under the lock of the god's sealing mirror, penetrated the space and directly attacked the devil gods. All the devil gods that were attacked by the purifying light were seriously injured. The originally favorable situation was reversed again, which made the devil clan's devil gods gnash their teeth in hatred for the two war fortresses that disturbed the situation. They abandoned their opponents and attacked the two war fortresses frantically. The defense of the two war fortresses was at the highest strength. Although the Golden Light Shield was attacked by more than 10 devil gods at the same time, it still firmly protected the war fortresses. The mythical masters of the Southern Wasteland Alliance and the Central Plains also knew the important role of the war fortresses, and they all tried their best to stop the devil gods that wanted to attack the war fortresses. With the help of the divine purification light, the number of injured demonic gods of the demonic clan increased greatly. The Southern Wasteland Alliance and the mythical masters of the Central Plains once again gained the upper hand and pressed the demonic clan. Seeing that there was no hope for victory, the Nephilim finally retreated reluctantly. Looking at the retreating Nephilim, the mythical experts of the Southern Wasteland Alliance and the Central Plains did not rashly pursue them. Now was not the time for the final battle. Their forces had not been fully assembled yet. Those who were injured also needed to be treated. Only when all the preparations were complete would it be the time for the final battle. The battle on the mythical battlefield stopped with the retreat of the Demon Clan. Because of the war fortresses and sky patrol battleships on the ground, the Demon Clan's martial sages and martial venerables suffered great casualties. The Demon Clan also retreated again and again. The warriors of the Southern Wasteland Alliance, under the lead of the 3 battle forts and 30 sky patrol battleships, chased after the Demon Clan for 3 days and 3 nights, crossing over 2 million miles of vast territory, until they were too tired to chase after the Demon Clan. Time passed quickly. Half a year had passed since the battle forts and the sky patrol battleships of the Hao Ranjin sect helped the Southern Wasteland Alliance defeat the Devil Race. In this half a year, the armies and all kinds of war weapons mobilized by the major forces of the Central Plains came to the Southern Wasteland Alliance one after another through the super teleportation formation. And the Hao Ranjin sect also mobilized another 600,000 disciples to the Southern Wasteland Alliance, reaching a total of 2 million people. This time, in order to completely drive the Devil Race out of the Southern Wasteland, all the super forces and holy lands of the Central Plains sent at least 1 myth realm expert. Those holy lands basically sent 2 or 3 myth realm experts. Even though Towering Cloud Palace, Kunlun sect, and the 10 holy lands did not send out 13 myth realm elites in one go like Righteous sect, including Yi Tianzong and the other 2, they still sent out 6 or 7 myth realm elite. Even Towering Cloud Palace's master, Kunlun sect's master, and the 10 holy lands had all arrived. Now, the number of myth realm experts of the Central Plains gathered in the Southern Wasteland had reached 1,500. In addition, all the super forces and holy lands sent at least 300,000 people to support the Southern Wasteland Alliance in the war against the Devil Race. Seeing the endless number of fully armed warriors of the major forces, all kinds of strange and huge war weapons, and the strong chi that soared to the sky, the Southern Wasteland Alliance people all felt that the Southern Wasteland Alliance people were all in a daze. All the super forces and holy masters of the Southern Wasteland Alliance deeply felt the gap between them and the Central Plains. This was only a small part of the forces of the Central Plains, and this force was enough to crush the Southern Wasteland Alliance several times. How powerful was the Central Plains as a whole? Among all the forces of the Central Plains, the Hao Ranjin sect alone occupied a large area, surrounded by people from Lingyun Hall, Kunlun Sect and the 10 Holy Lands. 3 battle forts and 30 sky patrol battleships floated in the sky above the Hao Ranjun Sect camp. At this moment, the Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master and the 10 Holy Masters were talking with the Myth Realm experts of the Hao Ranjun Sect. The Myth Realm experts of the Hao Ranjun Sect used to be the higher-ups of the Hao Ranjun Sect, and they were already familiar with the Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master and the 10 Holy Masters. Therefore, they were not unfamiliar with each other. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu were resting in the battle forts in the sky, and they did not communicate with the Lingyun Hall Master and the others. This was not because Yi Tianzong was arrogant and looked down on the Lingyun Hall Master and the others, but because the Lingyun Hall Master and the others felt very uncomfortable when they faced Yi Tianzong. They always felt that they were inferior, and they were always on tenterhooks. Even if they had become Myth Realm elites, when they faced Yi Tianzong's unintentional aura, Lingyun Palace Master, Kunlun Sect Master, the 10 Great Sacred Masters, and the others could still feel as if they were ants facing a giant. It was an invincible power that could kill them with one slap at any time. This made the Lingyun Hall Master and the others very cautious. Yi Tianzong also knew about this, so he did not stay down there. He left the matter of communicating with the other forces to the Myth Realm experts who came with him. After all, they were already very familiar with this kind of thing. Elder Xianyang, I really didn't expect that the war weapons you created would be so shocking. I originally thought that the Kunlun Sect's Kunlun warship was already pretty good, but who knew that compared to your battle forts and sky patrol warships? Sigh. It's a long story. Kunlun Sect Master said to Lin Xianyang, who was at the later stage of Myth Realm First Heaven, with a wry smile. After Kunlun Sect Master finished speaking, before Lin Xianyang could say anything, the Lingyun Hall Master next to him said, Brother Kunlun, if you feel this way, I, the Lingyun Hall, feel the same way. After we saw your sect's Sky Patrol warships, we used the appearance of the Sky Patrol warships as reference before we built the Lingyun flying shuttles. Who knew that you actually have such an invincible killing weapon like the battle forts? Even the Sky Patrol warships have powerful offensive capabilities. Your righteous sect really knows how to deal with people. Lin Xianyang didn't care about what the Lingyun Hall Master and Kunlun Sect Master said. He laughed and said, You can't blame us for this. These battle forts and Sky Patrol warships were all created by our young sect master. Plus, when you guys first came, we didn't even have 10% of the battle forts. How could we show them to you guys? To be honest, if it wasn't for the young sect master's guidance, we wouldn't have thought that we wouldn't be able to create these war weapons. I really admire the young sect master for being able to come up with such incredible and unimaginable things. The Lingyun level is already so powerful. I wonder how powerful the Sky Patrol level and Star Universe level are. After Lin Xianyang finished speaking, he noticed the shock in the eyes of the Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master, and the 10 Saint Lords. He then said, It's okay, I know what you guys want to ask. This isn't something that can't be said. The young sect master once said that in his concept, the battle forts were divided into Lingyun level, Sky Patrol level, Star Universe level, World Shaking level, and Supreme level. Right now, the battle forts we built are only Lingyun level. After hearing Lin Xuanyang's words, the Sky Sword Saint Lord bitterly smiled and said, Sigh. Comparisons are odious. There's really no comparison. We are still a bit ignorant. Forgive me for asking, but can Elder Xianyang tell us what level you are at now? Lin Xianyang smiled and said, It's nothing. Thanks to the young sect master's guidance, I am now at the late stage of the first celestial layer. After Lin Xianyang finished speaking, although the Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master, and the 10 Saint Lords had expected this, they still couldn't help but be shocked. Lin Xianyang had reached the Myth Realm a few years later than them, but now they were still at the early stage of the first celestial layer, while Lin Xianyang had already reached the late stage of the first celestial layer. Only after reaching the myth realm would one know how difficult it was to cultivate. Just what kind of heaven-defying methods did Yi Tianzong have that allowed Lin Xianyang to advance so quickly in the myth realm in just 20 years? Chapter 239. Lin Xianyang didn't care about the shock in the eyes of the Lingyun Hall master and the others. He continued, "The young master's means are beyond my reach. Not to mention that I once felt the young master's unintentional aura. Even the aura of the two young master's wives couldn't withstand it. It's like the difference between heaven and earth. According to our master, the young master and the two wives have reached the limit of the second sky of myth realm. If it weren't for waiting for the rest of the people in the sect to grow up, I'm afraid they would have broken the seal of heaven and earth. After all, you all know the reason. These years, the young master has said more than once that we don't have much time. The main purpose of building the battle fortress is not to fight the devil race." Lin Xuanyang's voice became a little heavy. The Lingyun Hall master, the Kunlun sect master, the 10 great sacred masters and the others also became a little silent. No one knew what the future crisis would be like. All they could do was to try their best to develop their strength. In the blink of an eye, another half a month had passed. All the major forces of the Central Plains had gathered and all their forces had arrived. They had basically figured out the situation of the devil race. It was time to launch the final battle. Yi Tianzong took over the leadership of the Central Plains and the Southern Wasteland Alliance Army. He was the chief of the Devil-Slaying Alliance in the Central Plains and the strongest person in the Central Plains. He also had super weapons like the Battle Fortress and the Sky Patrol battleship. No one in the Central Plains or the Southern Wasteland Alliance had any objection to Yi Tianzong leading the army to attack the devil race. Even those myths had no objection after feeling the tyrannical aura of Yi Tianzong. Under Yi Tianzong's order, the 60 billion allied army formed by the Southern Wasteland Alliance and the major forces of the Central Plains divided into 3 groups. Under the leadership of 3 battle fortresses and 30 Sky Patrol battleships, they went straight to the Devil Race's base camp in the Southern Wasteland. The 60 billion allied army advanced towards the base camp of the Devil Race in the Southern Wilderness in a grandiose manner. In the sky above the allied army, the war weapons forged by the major forces of the Central Plains were scattered in the sky, blotting out the sky and the sun. They maintained an attacking formation at all times. In case of any accident, they would launch a fatal blow at once. The base camp of the Devil Race in the Southern Wasteland was also located in a vast mountain range. It was a very famous Devil Mountain Range in the Southern Wasteland. The Demon Mountain Range had existed in the Southern Wasteland since the mythological era. It was originally the habitat of the Demon Tribe. At that time, the conflict between the Demon Tribe and the Human Tribe was very big in the Southern Wasteland. Large-scale wars often broke out. Because of their mutual hatred, the Human Tribe named this mountain range as the Demon Mountain Range. The Demon Mountain Range covered an area of more than 30 million miles. Since ancient times, the Demon Clan had conquered the Demon Clan in the Demon Mountain Range and turned the Demon Clan into a member of the Demon Clan. From then on, they completely occupied the Demon Mountain Range, and the Demon Mountain Range lived up to its name. The mighty army of 60 billion advanced all the way to the front of the Demon Mountain Range. Seeing that the Demon Clan in the Demon Mountain Range had no intention of coming out, Yi Tianzong gave the order to take the initiative to attack and flatten the Demon Mountain Range. After giving the order, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu flew up to the sky with the other Myth Realm warriors. They released their powerful auras and invited the Demon Clan to fight. As for the battle on the ground, it was left to the higher-ups of the Demon-Slaying Alliance of the Central Plains to manage. Anyway, with the decades of experience of fighting the Demon Mountain Range in the Central Plains, the higher-ups of the major forces of the Demon-Slaying Alliance had long been familiar with attacking the Demon Mountain Range. They knew what method to use. At this time, the original army of more than 10 billion soldiers of the Southern Wasteland Alliance became the backup force because they had no experience. Under the orders of the higher-ups of the demon-slaying alliance of the Central Plains, the armies of the major forces of the Central Plains marched into the Demon Mountain Range in an orderly manner. When they were marching into the Demon Mountain Range, the armies of all the forces still adopted crushing attacks. Countless flaming beads and exploding flame beads opened up a path. All the plants, trees, mountains, and rocks in front of the army were blown into pieces and razed to the ground. At the same time, all the powerful warriors of Wu Zun and Wu Sheng flew up to the sky and followed all the large-scale war weapons built by the major forces. All the large-scale war weapons were led by the 3 war fortresses and 30 sky patrol battleships of the Hao Ranjin sect. They attacked the front of the army of the demon-slaying alliance in the sky. Destroy all the traps and obstacles set up by the demon race that you detected. They wiped out the major threats for the advance of the army on the ground. The powerful warriors of Wu Zun and Wu Sheng, who followed behind, were always ready to fight against Wu Zun and Wu Sheng of the Demon Clan. With the help of all the war weapons in the sky, the army on the ground adopted crushing attacks and rushed all the way into the Demon Mountain Range. Everywhere they went, they razed to the ground and eliminated all the possible opportunities for the Demon Clan to hide and ambush. The more than 10 billion soldiers of the Southern Wasteland Alliance followed behind the army of the demon-slaying alliance of the Central Plains with shocked expressions. The crushing attacks of the major forces of the Central Plains made all the forces of the Southern Wasteland Alliance finally know why the Demon Clan suffered a crushing defeat in the Central Plains and came to the Southern Wasteland to bully them. Based on what they saw with their own eyes and the determination and ability of the army of the Central Plains to wipe out everything, how could the Demon Clan resist such an attack and not be defeated? Fortunately, it was the Demon Clan. If it were them, the forces of the Central Plains in front of them were enough to wipe out the Southern Wasteland. Thousands of miles high in the sky, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu led more than 1,800 powerful warriors of the Myth Realm from the Central Plains and the Southern Wasteland to challenge the Demon God in the Demon Mountain Range with a powerful momentum. The Demon God in the Demon Mountain Range did not shrink back. He also emitted a powerful momentum to fight against Yi Tianzong and the others. In fact, the demon god of the Demon Clan had to appear. The strength of the Myth Realm was too strong, and it was not something that creatures below the Myth Realm could resist. If these demon gods did not appear, once the Myth Realm masters of the Central Plains and the Southern Wasteland took action, they would definitely wipe out the Demon Mountain Range, and all the efforts of the Demon Clan in the Southern Wasteland would be in vain. In order to occupy the Southern Wasteland, the Demon Clan spent a lot of effort and resources. Naturally, they would not be willing to give up because of the interference of the Central Plains. What was more, these demon gods who woke up later had been very dissatisfied with the Demon Clan's crushing defeat in the Central Plains and being surrounded in a small corner. Even a mortal had his own pride and persistence, let alone the powerful and lofty demon gods. Previously, there was the hatred of the Demon Clan's crushing defeat in the Central Plains, and recently, there was the hatred of the Demon Clan's destruction and occupation of the Southern Wasteland. With the new and old hatred added together, if the Demon Clan did not really fight to determine the winner, they would retreat from the Southern Wasteland with their tails between their legs. The demon gods of the Demon Clan would probably be so angry that they would explode on the spot. The number of demon gods of the Demon Clan was much more than the number of Myth Realm masters in the Central Plains and the Southern Wasteland. No matter what, they had dominated the 4 major regions in the ancient times, and defeated the Human Clan and the Demon Clan in the Central Plains until they could not raise their heads. In the end, the Central Plains had to rely on the Sea Clan in the Boundless Sea to stabilize the situation. If it were not for the changes in the world that caused the Demon Clan to sleep underground, giving the Central Plains a buffer time to preserve the fire and inheritance, who knew what the Central Plains would be like now? In half a year, Not only the major forces in the Central Plains were mobilizing their forces, but the demon clan was also mobilizing their forces. In order to avenge their previous disgrace, the number of demon gods of the demon clan had reached more than 2,300 in half a year, which exceeded the total number of mythical masters in the Central Plains and the Southern Wasteland Alliance by more than 400. This situation was beyond everyone's expectation. Even Yi Tianzong's expression changed when he saw so many demon gods of the demon clan. It was not that he was afraid of these demon gods of the demon clan, nor was it that Yi Tianzong boasted. With his current strength, as long as these demon gods did not run away, he could kill these demon gods alone given enough time. What made Yi Tianzong's expression change was that, if there were so many demon gods in the southern wasteland, then how many more demon gods were hiding in the demonic mountain range of the Central Plains? There must be more demon gods than these demon gods. Then, once those demon gods in the demonic mountain range suddenly walked out of the dark swamp, countless living creatures in the surroundings would be in danger. Yi Tianzong did not believe that these demon gods of the demon clan would disdain to kill weak living creatures. Destruction and killing were their instincts rooted in their bones. It seemed that after the matter in the southern wasteland was settled, the last hidden danger of the demon clan in the Central Plains must be eliminated. Sensing the aura of the demon gods, Yi Tianzong and the myth realm masters behind him did not delay. Now it was impossible to ask for help or stop the war. They could only fight to the end. All of them flew straight up to the ninth heaven. Those demon gods in the demonic mountain range also flew up to the ninth heaven. 4 powerful myth realm existences like them, only the 9 heavens above was their battlefield. Hundreds of thousands of miles above the ground, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu stood in front of all the myth realm masters and looked at the demon gods opposite them, exuding a vast and powerful aura at the peak of the second heaven of the myth realm. A total of more than 4,100 myth realm masters stood in the vast sky and earth, exuding an aura that could dominate the world. The myth realm masters had begun to comprehend the laws of heaven and earth. After comprehending the laws of heaven and earth, they could use the power of the laws to fight against the enemy. All the myth realm masters created their own supernatural powers according to their own understanding of the laws of heaven and earth. The function of the supernatural powers was to allow the practitioners to use the power of the laws of heaven and earth in a more diverse way to strengthen their own strength and attack power. Yi Tianzong's eyes shot out 2 sharp golden lights. In order to avoid too many casualties among the myth realm masters in the Central Plains and the Southern Wasteland, Yi Tianzong planned to use his full strength, so he directly took out the boundless godly sword. At the same time, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu also took out their own weapons. Chapter 240. Kill! Yi Tianzong shouted, and the momentum of the peak of the second heaven of the myth realm exploded. Suddenly, a mighty aura that far surpassed the second heaven of the myth realm and dominated the world ran through the world, shaking the 9 heavens. The whole world seemed to be shocked by it. That vast and unparalleled supreme aura deeply shocked all the mythological experts and demon gods. Under their shocked gazes, Yi Tianzong's whole body was shining with golden light. He was like a supreme god of war in golden armor, holding a golden divine sword and rushing directly into the demon god's camp. Behind Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu also erupted with powerful momentum that far surpassed the second heaven of the myth realm and shook the world. They followed Yi Tianzong and rushed into the demon god's camp. Yi Tianzong and the other 2 were the first to rush into the Devil Clan. After the shock, the rest of the mythical experts did not hesitate and rushed into the Devil Clan's camp with an indomitable momentum. When the demon god on the opposite side saw Yi Tianzong and the myth realm experts rushing over, although they were shocked by the momentum of Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu, they did not hesitate and also erupted with momentum to meet them. Because the number of Myth Realm experts was much more than the Myth Realm experts on the opposite side, except for the Myth Realm experts of the Central Plains and the Southern Wasteland Alliance. The remaining more than 400 demon gods were divided into 3 groups and joined the ranks of the besieging Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue and Xin Yu. With Yi Tianzong's current strength, not including the comprehension of the law, the ordinary fourth heaven of the Myth Realm experts were no match for him. The strength of Ling Xinyue and Xin Yu was enough to defeat most of the third heaven of the Myth Realm expert. The gap between each heaven of the Myth Realm was getting bigger and bigger. In the face of these ordinary demon gods, who were only equivalent to the first heaven and second heaven of the Myth Realm, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Xin Yu felt no pressure at all. Although Ling Xinyue and Xin Yu were not afraid of these demon gods, they did not choose to fight them head-on. Instead, they used their advantage in speed to fight the demon god. Using flashing aurora, the two shuttled between the demon gods at a speed that the demon gods could not hope to match. Due to the speed of each attack, they were only used against a dozen or so fiend celestials. To Ling Xinyue and Xin Yu, this was not a threat at all. Combined with their comprehension of the laws, every slash of their swords took the lives of at least 3 or 4 demon gods. On the other side, Yi Tianzong was simply and brutally pushing his way through. He was invincible. The laws of time and the laws of space were 2 powerful laws that were very difficult to comprehend even in the universe. Yi Tianzong had already comprehended over 60% of them after traveling through many worlds. Of course, Yi Tianzong didn't just comprehend the laws of time and space. There were 9 heavens of the Myth Realm, and each breakthrough had a minimum requirement for the comprehension of the laws. When one broke through from the first heaven of the Myth Realm to the second heaven, the comprehension of the laws had to be at least 10% and enter the threshold of 20%. Similarly, when one broke through from the second heaven of the Myth Realm to the third heaven, the comprehension of the laws had to be at least 20% and enter the threshold of 30%, and so on. The higher the level of the laws, the more profound and obscure they were, and the harder it was to break through to the Myth Realm. Yi Tianzong faced more than 200 demon gods besieging him. He did not dodge at all. Without waiting for them to attack, Yi Tianzong used the laws of time and the laws of space he had comprehended at the same time. Time stood still and space froze. All the demon gods attacking Yi Tianzong suddenly stopped in the air, as if someone had pressed the pause button under the powerful laws that Yi Tianzong had comprehended. The boundless divine sword in Yi Tianzong's hand erupted with 1,000-foot-long golden sword light. 1 turned into 10, 10 turned into 100, and 100 turned into 1,000 golden sword light. Each sword light was 1,000 feet long, and all of them carried the ultimate power to destroy everything. They swept towards the hundreds of demon gods that had stopped in front of him. The 1,000-foot-long sword lights with destructive power slashed down. The more than 200 demon gods that Yi Tianzong had used the laws of time and the laws of space to stop them in the void were wiped out by Yi Tianzong without any resistance. After easily wiping out the demon gods besieging him, Yi Tianzong took a look at the situation of Ling Xinyue and Xin Yu's battle. He felt that the 2 of them were not in any danger, so he went straight to the other demon gods. Yi Tianzong wiped out the demon gods too quickly. The other demon gods had just started fighting the mythical experts of the Central Plains and the Southern Wasteland Alliance when Yi Tianzong's battle ended. However, the battle ended very quickly, but it did not mean that no one noticed it. On the contrary, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Xin Yu's incredible aura were besieged by the demon gods. Whether it was the demon gods or the mythical experts of the Central Plains and the Southern Wasteland Alliance, they all understood that the key to victory was the battle between Yi Tianzong and the other 2 and more than 400 demon gods. If Yi Tianzong and the other 2 won, or if the many demon gods could not do anything to Yi Tianzong and the other 2, then the demon gods would lose. On the other hand, the demon gods would win. Therefore, during the battle, whether it was the demon gods or the mythical experts of the Central Plains and the Southern Wasteland Alliance, they all paid attention to the battle between Yi Tianzong and the other two and the demon god. However, when they paid attention, they saw the result that shocked and frightened everyone, including the demon gods. There were more than 200 demon gods, and more than 70 of them were powerful existences at the second heaven of Myth Realm. However, in the face of Yi Tianzong, they were wiped out cleanly without being able to put up any resistance. This shocking result not only made the demon gods feel fear and disbelief, but also everyone in the Central Plains and the Southern Wasteland Alliance. Although they had sensed Yi Tianzong's aura and knew that Yi Tianzong's strength was stronger than any of them, they did not expect him to be so unbelievably strong. This was especially so for the mythical experts from the various forces of the Central Plains. When they heard that the higher-ups of their forces warned them not to provoke the Hao Ranjin sect and Yi Tianzong, they did not take it to heart. They even reprimanded them for being cowards. Now, it seemed that they were lucky that they did not go to the Hao Ranjin sect to look for trouble. Otherwise, they would definitely be dead. With the strength that Yi Tianzong showed now, in the current environment, he could definitely defeat all the mythical experts of the Central Plains by himself. Through observing the short battle scene, everyone knew that Yi Tianzong's comprehension of the law of space had far exceeded the scope of the second heaven of the mythical realm. He had at least reached the fourth heaven or even the fifth heaven. Otherwise, he would not have killed so many demon gods so easily. No matter what the demon gods and the mythical experts on their side thought, Yi Tianzong did not stay idle after eliminating the demon gods who attacked him. After confirming that Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu were not in danger, Yi Tianzong turned his attention to the other demon gods. Using the Aurora Instantaneous Shadow, Yi Tianzong ignored the obstruction and distance of space and instantly appeared behind a demon god who was equivalent to the second heaven of the mythical realm. A heaven-covering palm, which contained a powerful condensed force, hit the demon god. The demon god could not resist the attack at all and was destroyed by Yi Tianzong. After killing a demon god, Yi Tianzong came behind another demon god at the second heaven of the mythical realm in an instant. He threw out a world-suppressing fist and blasted the demon god into powder on the spot. Yi Tianzong relied on his powerful and invincible strength to appear and disappear unpredictably on the mythical battlefield. He was invincible. No demon god could resist Yi Tianzong's move. Those mythical experts who were released because their opponents were killed by Yi Tianzong were not stupid enough to do nothing. They did not have the idea that they could not bully the demons with their numbers. They directly chose the battlefield closest to them and besieged the demon gods with the experts on their side. From the official start of the battle until now, in less than a quarter of an hour, the demon gods, who originally came with a large number of people and wanted to avenge their previous humiliation, had the situation reversed because of Yi Tianzong's outburst, and they fell into a dangerous situation of destruction. Chapter 241. Yi Tianzong appeared and disappeared unpredictably on the mythical battlefield, killing the demon gods one by one as if he were cutting vegetables. More and more Myth Realm experts were released and joined the ranks of the besieging the demon god. Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu also killed more than 30 demon gods in a short period of time because of their extraordinary strength. The remaining demon gods did not dare to stay any longer. The invincible strength displayed by Yi Tianzong had completely terrified them. If they continued to stay, they would definitely be wiped out. They threw all thoughts of revenge and competing with each other to the back of their minds. At this time, the most important thing was to escape. Those demon gods who were besieged by 2 or more Myth Realm experts had little chance of escaping. However, those demon gods who only had one opponent in front of them abandoned their opponents one after another. They did not care whether they would be attacked or not. They turned around and ran away at the fastest speed in their lives. Seeing this, the myth realm experts of the Central Plains and the Southern Wasteland Alliance also used all their strength to stop those demon gods who wanted to escape. This was a great opportunity to eliminate the high-end strength of the demon race and weaken the demon race. It was impossible to stop all the demon gods who wanted to escape, but they could stop as many as they could. If these demon gods escaped, they would be so ashamed that they would find a stone to kill themselves. How could they raise their heads in the future? The numerous demon gods who had been besieging Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu stopped attacking. They turned around decisively and began to run away. Of course, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu would not let them escape so easily. They chased after the fleeing demon gods with their divine swords. Under the aurora instantaneous shadow, all the demon gods who were caught by them were killed by the two of them. Those demon gods who were lucky enough to escape returned directly to the deepest part of the demon mountain range and went underground, never to come out again. As for the demon race who were guarding on the surface of the demon mountain range, they had already been abandoned. They had no intention of telling them to retreat. When the demon gods fled, Yi Tianzong immediately followed them to the center of the demon mountain range. He directly operated the traceless void and quietly guarded the entrance of the underground passage. Any demon god who wanted to escape underground was directly killed by Yi Tianzong. The battle between the myth realm experts and the demon gods lasted for less than an hour. In the end, less than 200 demon gods out of more than 2,300 managed to escape underground. The rest of the demon gods were all killed by Yi Tianzong and the others. The demon gods were all wiped out, and the remaining demon race demons in the demon mountain range were not a concern. Yi Tianzong said to the myth realm experts of the Central Plains and the Southern Wasteland Alliance, "Since the demon gods have been wiped out, in order to avoid more casualties, you should also kill the remaining demon race. I want to destroy this passage, and then seal it to prevent the demon race from appearing in the Southern Wasteland again." All the myth realm experts had no objection to Yi Tianzong's words. After seeing Yi Tianzong's terrifying strength, no one dared to oppose him. As long as it did not endanger their own interests, it did not matter even if it was a little troublesome. Most of the myth realm experts flew directly to various places in the demon mountain range and used monstrous means to kill the demon race in the demon mountain range. It was not difficult for these myth realm experts to deal with the demon race below the myth realm. With a slap, all the demon race within a radius of thousands of miles were directly turned into ashes. Even when a magical power was used, the demon race within a radius of 10,000 miles also disappeared. The 10 myth realm experts of the Hao Ranjun sect, who were ordered by Yi Tianzong to stay, first destroyed the underground passage of the demon race under Yi Tianzong's order, and then stood in the position of Haoran's Tiangang demon sealing formation. Yi Tianzong's whole body exuded Haoran's righteous and dignified artistic conception, which filled the vast heaven and earth. At the same time, Ling Xinyue, Shen Yu, and the 10 myth realm experts of the Hao Ranjun sect also exuded Haoran's dignified artistic conception, but compared to the artistic conception exuded by Yi Tianzong, it paled in comparison. Then, the endless Haoran's righteousness scattered between heaven and earth was attracted by Yi Tianzong and the others, and continuously gathered towards Yi Tianzong and the others. The southern wasteland was different from the Hao Ranjun sect's territory. In the sky above the Hao Ranjun sect's territory, because of the existence of the Hao Ranjun sect, there was endless Haoran's righteousness converging into a long river of Haoran's righteousness. As long as Yi Tianzong and the others triggered the Haoran's righteousness between heaven and earth, the long river of Haoran's righteousness from the ninth heaven would be instilled into them. But obviously, the southern wasteland did not have the conditions to form a long river of Haoran's righteousness, and could only slowly attract and gather the Haoran's righteousness between heaven and earth. The endless Haoran's righteousness between heaven and earth turned into wisps of golden flowing light from all directions, and gathered towards Yi Tianzong and the others. The aura of Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue Xinyu, and the 10 mythical experts of the Hao Ranjin sect also became more and more powerful. Haoran's majestic aura pierced through heaven and earth, directly dispersing the black clouds above the demon mountain range that had not dispersed for a long time. Sensing the increasingly powerful aura of Yi Tianzong and the others from a distance, all the mythical realm experts of the Central Plains and the Southern Wasteland Alliance felt a strong sense of disbelief and fear in their hearts. "You're already so powerful, but I didn't expect you to be able to cheat." Everyone had a feeling that the heavens were unfair. After gathering enough Haoran's righteousness between heaven and earth, Ling Xinyue Xinyu, and the 10 mythical experts assisted Yi Tianzong to set up the Haoran Tiangang Demon Sealing Formation. After the Haoran Tiangang Demon Sealing Formation was set up, it could continuously absorb the Haoran's righteousness between heaven and earth to seal the underground passage of the demons and prevent the demons from appearing in the Demon Mountain range again. And as time went by, the power of the Haoran Tiangang Demon Sealing Formation would become more and more powerful. After setting up the Haoran Tiangang Demon Sealing Formation, Yi Tianzong and the others did not stop. Like the mythical experts, they also joined the ranks of the demons in the Demon Mountain range. Although doing so was bullying the demons, all the mythical experts did not have any burden in their hearts. The devil race had committed too many sins. If they could, they would even want to slap all the devil race to death. There was no such thing as the demons bullying the weak, and they would not follow any rules for the demons. With these mythical experts, who had completely broken the balance, the hundreds of billions of demons in the Demon Mountain range could not make any effective resistance. All the powerful traps and defensive formations that were carefully set up were useless in front of the mythical expert. They were completely destroyed. At the same time, because the powerful traps and formations of the demons were destroyed by the mythical experts, a large number of demons were also eliminated. The 60 billion allied forces of the Central Plains and the Southern Wilderness Alliance also gave up the crushing attack step by step. With the help of all the war weapons in the sky, they sped up the pace of the attack and swept all the way. Every day, they pushed hundreds of thousands of miles into the depths of the Demon Mountain range. In just over a year, the 60 billion allied forces of the Central Plains and the Southern Wilderness Alliance had completely conquered the entire Demon Mountain range. All the demons in the Demon Mountain range were also wiped out. So far, except for some demons scattered all over the Southern Wilderness, the demons' base camp in the Southern Wilderness was completely destroyed and annihilated. The demons, who had wreaked havoc in the Southern Wilderness for hundreds of years, were completely driven out of the Southern Wilderness. It was only a matter of time before those demons were wiped out. The major forces in the Southern Wilderness finally had the opportunity and time to rest and build up strength. After the Demon Mountain range was wiped out, the major forces from the Central Plains also returned to the Central Plains one after another through the Super Teleportation Formation under the gratitude of the Southern Wilderness Alliance. As for Yi Tianzong and other mythical experts, they had already returned to the Central Plains after dealing with most of the demons. Time passed quickly. It had been 5 years since the Central Plains sent reinforcements to the Southern Wilderness and completely drove out the demons. In the past 5 years, except for the daily fighting and killing in the Central Plains, basically nothing major had happened. Everything seemed so peaceful. In fact, after seeing Yi Tianzong's invincible strength, the major forces in the Central Plains were also shocked. They temporarily suppressed their ambitions and honestly developed to increase their strength. At the same time, they began to copy the Hao Ranjin sect's War Fortress and Sky Patrol battleships to build powerful war weapons. The War Fortress and Sky Patrol battleships showed great fighting power on the battlefield in the Southern Wilderness, which shocked and tempted the major forces. If it were other Holy Lands, the major forces would have already forced them to hand over the construction method. But what made them helpless was that it was the Hao Ranjin sect who owned the War Fortress. After knowing that Yi Tianzong could easily kill a large number of first sky and second sky of myth realm experts, no matter how tempted the major forces were, they did not dare to force the Hao Ranjin sect to hand over the construction method of the war fortress. After so many years, the major forces were already familiar with the fierce means of Yi Tianzong and the Hao Ranjin sect. Therefore, they could only slowly think of ways to build suitable war weapons. In the past 5 years, the Central Plains did not change much, but for the generals in the southern wilderness, it changed a lot. In the past, because of the constant fighting with the demons, the martial arts forces and strength in the southern wilderness had been stagnant and even weakened constantly. Now that the demons were finally driven away, the major forces in the southern wilderness were still actively communicating with the major forces in the Central Plains while recuperating. They sent a large number of people to the Central Plains to learn all kinds of prosperous experiences and trade various advanced and powerful martial arts techniques, cultivation methods, formations, pills, flame beads, and other things. Then, they brought them back to the southern wilderness to develop their own strength. In just 5 years, the transmission formation, which was originally very rare in the southern wilderness, was basically spread all over the southern wilderness after the major forces in the southern wilderness spared no expense to invest. Chapter 242. The 72 Holy Lands and 800 super forces of the southern wasteland paid a great price to obtain the construction methods of short-distance, mid-distance, and long-distance teleportation portals from the major forces of the Central Plains. They also wanted to trade the super teleportation portals, but unfortunately, no force in the Central Plains knew how to build them except for the Hao Ranjin sect. Also, the Hao Ranjin sect didn't plan to sell the super teleportation portals publicly in the near future. Besides building the teleportation portals, all the third-rate forces in the southern wasteland requested the demon-killing alliance of the Central Plains to help them build the creation spirit pool under the name of the Southern Wasteland Alliance. When the people of the Southern Wasteland Alliance found out about the creation spirit pool's heaven-defying effects, they couldn't suppress their excitement. They immediately proposed to the Demon-Killing Alliance that they wanted to trade the construction method of the creation spirit pool, regardless of the price. The major forces of the Demon-Killing Alliance were very interested in the Southern Wasteland Alliance's request. They wanted to agree, but they didn't have it. Therefore, the higher-ups of the Demon-Killing Alliance could only helplessly tell the Southern Wasteland Alliance, "Don't even think about it." All the creation spirit pools in the Central Plains were built with the help of the Hao Ranjin sect. The materials and resources needed were unimaginable. Only the Hao Ranjin sect knew how to build them. If you want to build the creation spirit pool, go to the Hao Ranjin sect. We don't have the final say. Well, they had to ask the Hao Ranjin sect for help again. The major forces of the Southern Wasteland Alliance had been actively learning from the Central Plains for 5 years. They had a deep understanding of the status and strength of the Hao Ranjin sect in the Central Plains. The Hao Ranjin sect was the one who broke the seal of heaven and earth and made heaven and earth recover. The junior sect lord of the righteous sect was an unprecedented chosen. Not only was he the most powerful expert in the righteous sect, but he was also the most powerful expert in the Central Plains. In other words, he was the most powerful expert in the entire world. He was also the League Lord of the Devil-Killing Alliance. No one in the first or second heaven would be a match for him. The Hao Ranjin sect had the widest and most prosperous territory under its rule. It also had the largest number of elite disciples in the entire Central Plains. The Warriors for Hire Guild, which was spread all over the Central Plains, was established by the Hao Ranjin sect. Hao Ranjin sect was the one who invented the teleportation array, and the storage pouch was invented by the Hao Ranjin sect. The Origin Chi Pill, True Elemental Pill, Profound Elemental Pill, and Divine Elemental Pill were the 4 types of currency that were publicly recognized in the Central Plains. The Hao Ranjin sect had invented and introduced these 4 types of currency. The Hao Ranjun sect had also developed and promoted the high-yield grain seeds that had solved the food crisis. The demon-slaying alliance was proposed by the Hao Ranjun sect. It was established together with the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 Great Holy Lands. The Heavenly Legends competition was also born because of this. The Hao Ranjun sect invented the flaming bead and the explosive flame bead. In order to fight against the devil race, they sold the refining method to the major forces. In the battle against the devil race, the Hao Ranjun sect had contributed the most. They had also eliminated the most powerful devil race experts and the number of devil race experts. The Hao Ranjun sect had also created and deployed the Wanxiang array that divided the ranks of the disciples. The Hao Ranjun sect had also built the Fortune Spirit Pool to enhance the strength of the Central Plains to fight against the devil race, and so on. The more one knew, the more one understood how powerful and mysterious the Hao Ranjun sect was, and how deep its influence on the Central Plains was. Not to mention the unknown number of battle fortresses and sky patrol battleship. As long as they thought of the Hao Ranjun sect, the people of the Southern Wasteland Alliance would instinctively feel awe and fear. Because they knew how powerful and mysterious the Hao Ranjun sect was, the people of the Southern Wasteland Alliance did not want to deal with the Hao Ranjun sect. It was not that they were hostile to the Hao Ranjun sect. The Southern Wasteland Alliance was able to defeat the devil race and restore peace because of the Hao Ranjun sect's proposal and support in the devil-slaying alliance. They were grateful, but how could they be hostile? The main reason was that they did not have the confidence to face the powerful Hao Ranjun sect. In layman's terms, they felt inferior. Therefore, in the past 5 years, the Southern Wasteland Alliance would rather pay a higher price to get what they wanted from other forces in the Central Plains than to go to the Hao Ranjun sect, even though they knew that they would pay a much lower price to get what they wanted from the Hao Ranjun sect. However, they did not expect that the Fortune Spirit Pool that they wanted at all costs would be given to the Hao Ranjun sect in the end. The people of the Southern Wasteland Alliance finally braced themselves and went to the Hao Ranjun sect. In the past few years, the Southern Wasteland Alliance had sent many people to the Hao Ranjun sect to send gifts to the Hao Ranjun sect, but this was the first time that the higher-ups of the Southern Wasteland Alliance had come to the Hao Ranjun sect. Under the guidance of Elder Wu Xing of the Hao Ranjun sect, the 7 higher-ups of the Southern Wasteland Alliance arrived at the Haoran Palace on the Tiangang Peak, somewhat cautiously. Along the way, the higher-ups of the Southern Wasteland Alliance sensed a large number of auras that were even more powerful than theirs. These were all powerhouses above the 8th sky of Wu Xing, and there were simply too many of them in the Hao Ranjun sect. Yi Haoran was in closed-door training, so Yi Haoyun received the people of the Southern Wasteland Alliance on behalf of Yi Haoran. Sensing the aura of the myth realm that Yi Haoyun unintentionally emitted, the 7 people of the Southern Wasteland Alliance, who were at the 7th sky and 8th sky of Wu Xing, became even more cautious. What the F***ck? Do you want us to live? Along the way, they had met some people whose cultivation levels were higher than theirs, but the higher-ups of the Hao Ranjun sect were even more horrifying. They were all at the myth realm. Shouldn't such people be regarded as the foundation of the sect, and cultivate in seclusion? How could they manage the sect? Aren't they afraid of wasting their own cultivation time? The people of the Southern Wasteland Alliance had a myriad of complicated feelings in their hearts, but in front of Yi Haoyun, they still respectfully stated their intentions. They didn't dare to say that they wanted to trade the construction method of the creation spiritual pond. None of the major forces in the Central Plains had it, so they didn't dare to hope for it. Besides, even if they got it, they wouldn't be able to keep it. They just asked the Hao Ranjun sect to help them build some creation spiritual ponds in the Southern Wasteland. They would be responsible for all the materials and resources, and would also give the Hao Ranjun sect a satisfactory reward. After hearing the request of the people of the Southern Wasteland Alliance, Yi Haoyun pondered for a while. Under the nervous and expectant looks of the people of the Southern Wasteland Alliance, Yi Haoyun said, "I can't make this decision. It needs to be discussed by the higher-ups of the sect, and after asking my nephew, Tianzong, I can give you an answer." After seeing the disappointed look of the people of the Southern Wasteland Alliance, Yi Haoyun didn't care and continued, "Also, I want to tell you that the construction of the creation spiritual pond requires a lot of natural treasures and resources, and it's also very troublesome. The most important thing is the spiritual marrow of creation. I don't know if you have it in the Southern Wasteland. It's also very rare in the Central Plains. Once it appears, all the major forces will try to get it at any cost. Our Hao Ranjin sect only has a few left. Almost none of the major forces in the Central Plains has the spiritual marrow of creation. Even if they do, they won't let you get it. If you have it, you'd better use it all or hide it. Otherwise, once the news leaks out, some powerful forces will attack you sooner or later. Now that our sect leader is in closed-door training, I can only ask my nephew, Tianzong, to see if he agrees to build the creation spiritual pond for you. You can rest in the Hao Ranjin sect for the night, and I'll give you an answer tomorrow." After saying that, Yi Haoyun ordered a deacon like Wu Zun to take the people of the Southern Wasteland Alliance to find some rooms to stay in. Yi Tianzong agreed to build the creation spiritual pond for the Southern Wasteland Alliance after thinking about it for a while. However, he stipulated that only 6 creation spiritual ponds could be built. Although Yi Tianzong had enough spiritual marrow of creation to build hundreds of large-scale creation spiritual ponds, Yi Tianzong didn't have the obligation to help the Southern Wasteland Alliance. Helping them build 6 creation spiritual ponds was already very good. The construction of the creation spiritual pond would naturally be handled by the people of the Formation and Tools Palace. Yi Tianzong didn't care too much about such a trivial matter. What he cared about now was that it was time to completely solve the problem of the Dark Swamp in the Celestial Devil Mountains. When they attacked the Celestial Devil Mountains, the base camp of the Devil Clan, in the end, because the Dark Swamp and other big forces lost too much power, they had to put the attack on hold. Since there were so many devil gods in the Southern Wasteland, there must be even more devil gods in the center of the Dark Swamp in the Celestial Devil Mountains. Every day that they delayed would give the Devil Clan more time to accumulate power. This was a ticking time bomb. If they didn't solve it now, once the Devil Clan accumulated enough power to explode, it would cause a lot of casualties, and countless creatures would be slaughtered because of it. After making up his mind to solve the problem of the Dark Swamp, Yi Tianzong, after discussing with the higher-ups of the Hao Ranjin sect, found the master of the Lingyun Hall, the master of the Kunlun sect, and the 10 great saints. After explaining the plan to them, the master of the Lingyun Hall and the others thought about it and also supported the solution of the Devil Clan in the Dark Swamp as soon as possible. Since the master of the Lingyun Hall, the master of the Kunlun sect, and the 10 great saints all agreed, Yi Tianzong didn't waste any time. In the name of the chief of the Devil-Slaying Alliance, he directly gathered the masters of the big forces in the Central Plains, as well as the masters of the Myth Realm, and told them that he was determined to completely solve the hidden danger of the Dark Swamp. After Yi Tianzong announced his decision, the master of the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 great saints immediately expressed their support, and also stated various reasons to explain the harm of not solving the hidden danger as soon as possible. In the end, the big forces of the Human Clan and the Demon Clan in the Devil-Slaying Alliance agreed to completely solve the problem of the Devil Clan in the Dark Swamp, and the time to attack the Dark Swamp was set for 1 month later. Attacking the Dark Swamp couldn't be done by just relying on some Myth Realm masters. If the Devil Clan didn't have devil gods equivalent to the Myth Realm, then it would be a piece of cake to solve the problem of the Devil Clan in the Dark Swamp. But the Devil Clan definitely had devil gods, and more certainly, they had more Myth Realm masters than the Central Plains. The rest of the Devil Clan below the Myth Realm needed Wu Xing, Wu Zun, and King Wu of the Central Plains to deal with. Chapter 243. With Yi Tianzong's strength in the present world, it was meaningless no matter how many demon gods there were at the first and second heavens of the myth realm. There was an insurmountable gap between them and Yi Tianzong. The supreme and omnipresent Great Tao dominated everything in the universe. However, the Great Tao was so vast that it was not something that ordinary people could comprehend. The Great Tao gave rise to 3,000 fundamental laws of heaven and earth, which ran through the universe and formed countless worlds, including the Great Thousand Worlds, the Middle Thousand Worlds, and the Minor Thousand World. The 3,000 fundamental laws of heaven and earth had different forms of expression in the countless worlds in the universe, thus forming countless cultivation systems. Only the Great Thousand Worlds at the peak could contain the complete 3,000 laws of heaven and earth. Generally speaking, the Minor Thousand Worlds contained at most 10% of the 3,000 laws of heaven and earth, and the Middle Thousand Worlds contained at most 70%. Only by comprehending the complete laws of heaven and earth contained in each of the pinnacle worlds, cultivating and comprehending the path of Great Tao that belonged solely to oneself, could a cultivator surpass the myth realm, break free from the shackles of the Great Thousand Worlds, become an existence of the same level as the Great Thousand Worlds, and freely travel through the endless chaos universe. Starting from the myth realm, one needed to comprehend the laws of heaven and earth at each heaven. Every time a cultivator comprehended 10% of the laws of heaven and earth, the power they could exert would increase exponentially, and the gap between each heaven would become bigger and bigger. The further one progressed, the less likely it was to challenge someone at a higher level. For example, if a peak celestial god of the sixth heaven of Godmyth wanted to challenge a god king of the seventh heaven of Godmyth, it would be extremely difficult to achieve. The only way to have a chance was if the peak celestial god challenger not only had extraordinary talent, but also had to have comprehended at least 70% of the laws of heaven and earth. Of course, the races with extremely powerful and rare innate divine powers were not included. Every breakthrough in the myth realm was a comprehensive breakthrough in the divine body, divine origin, divine soul, and law comprehension. Therefore, a higher level had an absolute advantage over a lower level. Although Yi Tianzong's cultivation was limited by the environment and could only reach the peak of the second heaven of the myth realm, he had comprehended more than 60% of the laws of heaven and earth, and some of them had even reached 70%. Therefore, Yi Tianzong could use the laws of time and space to control those demon gods or mythical experts who had only comprehended 10% or 20% of the laws of time and space, and then destroy them effortlessly. It was also because of an invincible existence like Yi Tianzong that those mythical experts in the Central Plains agreed to take the initiative to attack and eliminate the demon god of the demon race. A month passed quickly. During this month, the top forces in the Central Plains had mobilized 80% of the experts at the level of King Wu, Wu Zun, and Wu Sheng. Then, they all gathered in the city that sealed off the dark swamp of the demonic mountain range through the teleportation array. Once everything was ready, Yi Tianzong gave an order. With him as the leader, a total of 3,500 myth realm elites attacked. They executed powerful attacks in an attempt to flatten the seemingly endless dark swamp. The dark swamp, which was full of rotten, filthy, and evil aura, was cleaned up by the 3,500 myth realm elites. Even the weakest among them, who was at the early stage of the first heaven of the myth realm, cleared the dark swamp with a radius of at least 10 miles every time they attacked. In addition to the battle fortress and the sky patrol battleship of the Hao Ranjin sect, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu cleaned up the dark swamp the fastest. The power of the heavenly scripture of purification was the most suitable to clean up the endless dark swamp. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu all used the heavenly scripture of purification to purify the dark swamp in front of them. After the battle fortress and the sky patrol battleship activated the defensive array, they directly landed in the dark swamp. Every time they released the purifying divine halo formed by the purifying divine light, they could purify the dark swamp with a radius of at least 100,000 miles. The countless traps, killing formations, and mechanisms deployed by the Devil Clan in the Dark Swamp were useless in the face of absolute power. Yi Tianzong and the other Myth Realm elites, 3 battle fortresses, and 30 Sky Patrol battleships swept all the way in front of them, constantly cleaning and purifying the Dark Swamp. The Devil-Slaying Alliance army formed by the elites of Wu Xing, Wu Zun, and King Wu followed behind them and moved forward steadily. Since the last time the seal of heaven and earth was broken, heaven and earth had expanded dozens of times again. The area of the Dark Swamp had also expanded to a vast area with a radius of more than 30 million miles, which was equivalent to the entire Heavenly Devil Mountain range in the past. Yi Tianzong and the other Myth Realm elites would rest for 2 days. Every day they cleaned up the Dark Swamp to recover some of the power they had consumed. They kept themselves in peak condition at all times to avoid being sneak attacked by the Devil Clan's Devil Clan. Yi Tianzong, the Hao Ranjin sect, and the Myth Realm elites of the major forces in the Central Plains spent half a year to completely clean up the Dark Swamp. During this period, the Devil Clan's Devil Clan tried to sneak attack them, but they were all killed by Yi Tianzong directly. When Yi Tianzong and the other Myth Realm elites led the Devil-Slaying Alliance army into the last 1,000,000 miles of the area occupied by the Devil Clan, the dark canopy formed by the endless Devil Clan army was ready for battle. At the same time, more than 6,000 Devil Clan elites directly attacked the Myth Realm elites of the Devil-Slaying Alliance camp. On the ground, the Devil-Slaying army formed by more than 100 billion King Wu, Wu Zun, and Wu Xing attacked the dark canopy formed by the Devil Clan again and again, trying to break the last defense of the Devil Clan. The war weapons of the major forces and the war fortresses and Sky Patrol battleships of the Hao Ranjin sect also launched attacks on the dark canopy in the sky at the same time. In particular, the 3 war fortresses and 30 Sky Patrol battleships found that they could not do anything to the dark canopy after using the divine purification light to attack it several times. Therefore, all the war fortresses and Sky Patrol battleships gathered together and arranged themselves according to the formation of Haoran's Tiangang sword formation. They gathered 99% of the stored energy and the power of all the people of the Hao Ranjin sect in the war fortresses and Sky Patrol battleship. The battle fortress and the Sky Patrol battleship, which had gathered such a vast amount of energy, began to tremble. The vast and boundless energy caused ripples to appear in space. At the same time, it also shocked everyone in the Demon-Killing Alliance. By now, everyone in the Central Plains knew that the Hao Ranjin sect's unique divine purification light was the best way to restrain the Devil Clan. After seeing the unimaginable amount of energy gathered by the war fortresses and Sky Patrol battleships, the higher-ups of the Devil-Slaying Alliance understood the intention of doing this. The higher-ups of the Hao Ranjin sect, who stayed below to command, directly ordered all the troops of the Devil-Slaying Alliance to gather their power according to their respective battle formations. Once the war fortresses and Sky Patrol battleships attacked, they would attack the dark canopy together. All the war fortresses and Sky Patrol battleships released the most powerful divine purification light, which eventually formed a purification light pillar with a diameter of 300 feet. With the power to purify all the evil and negative energy in the world, it attacked the dark canopy of the Devil Clan. After the purification light pillar, the armies of the major forces of the Devil-Slaying Alliance used their battle formations to gather powerful attacks and attack the area where the purification light pillar was attacking. Under the attack of the purification light pillar and the armies of the Devil-Slaying Alliance, the dark canopy of the Devil-Slaying Alliance had gathered the power of countless Devil Clan members. The vast amount of power was transmitted to the areas where the purification light pillar and the armies of the Devil-Slaying Alliance were attacking through the lines of battle formations. The two sides were engaged in the most extreme and most critical confrontation. On the ground, there was a confrontation of boundless power, but the situation of the battle in the 9 heavens was the opposite. Because of the existence of Yi Tianzong, an unreasonable supermaster, even though the number of devil gods of the devil clan was much more than the number of mythical masters gathered in the central plains, under the attack of Yi Tianzong, the devil-slaying alliance was so useless. After comprehending more than 60% of the law of time and the law of space, those devil gods were fixed in the sky and the earth by Yi Tianzong before they could attack Yi Tianzong. Then, under the attack of the boundless sword technique, which had the most powerful attack power, none of the devil gods survived. Yi Tianzong was invincible in the 9 heavens mythical battlefield. No one was a match for him. None of the devil gods who were targeted by him were lucky enough to escape. More than 6,000 devil gods were killed by Yi Tianzong easily. The number of casualties rose sharply. 200, 300, 400. In less than an hour, Yi Tianzong had killed more than 1,000 devil gods. If it were not for the fact that these devil gods would not have stood still and allowed Yi Tianzong to kill them at will, they would not have foolishly charged at Yi Tianzong when they knew how powerful Yi Tianzong was. Otherwise, Yi Tianzong would have killed even more devil gods. Those devil gods who were terrified all stayed far away from Yi Tianzong and attacked Yi Tianzong from a distance. Because the distance was too far, Yi Tianzong could not use the law to freeze those devil gods. He could only rely on the aurora instantaneous shadow to kill those devil gods one by one at an extremely fast speed. Seeing that there was no hope of victory, in the end, these devil gods gave up the determination to continue to resist stubbornly. They no longer fought with the mythical experts of the Central Plains. They abandoned their opponents and retreated back to the underground passage of the devil world. It seemed that they had given up the plan to continue to take root in the Central Plains. Since the devil world wanted to run away, the mythical experts of the Central Plains naturally would not let the devil gods escape so easily. After a series of interception and killing, more than 1,000 devil gods were jointly killed by the mythical experts of the Central Plains. As for Yi Tianzong, he had followed those fleeing devil gods to the deepest underground passage and guarded the entrance of the underground passage. This place used to be the center of the Devil Mountain Range. In the area of hundreds of miles, there were a total of 10 giant underground passages of the devil world. These 10 giant passages led directly to the devil world that was hundreds of miles deep underground. The devil world in the depths of the underground was also very vast. The Central Plains, the western regions, the northern frontier, and the southern wilderness all had passages that connected to the devil world. And the devil world invaded the 4 major regions through these passages. Yi Tianzong guarded above the 10 giant passages. As long as there were devil gods who wanted to retreat into the passages, a considerable part of them would be intercepted and completely destroyed by Yi Tianzong. In the end, out of the original more than 6,000 devil gods, only 1,500 or so were lucky enough to escape back to the underground devil world and never come out again. After defeating the devil gods, the rest was simple. The dark canopy formed by the countless devil world that was below the devil god level, under the attack of Yi Tianzong and the other mythical experts, only lasted for less than 3 breaths of time before it was completely destroyed. Because the dark canopy had exhausted most of the power of the dark canopy, the innumerable devil world basically had no power to resist. Yi Tianzong and the other mythical experts wantonly slaughtered hundreds of millions of devil world. At the same time, the army of the Devil-Killing Alliance carried out a comprehensive encirclement and annihilation of the devil world that had lost most of its power. All the war weapons also joined the ranks of the slaughter. After a day and a night of hunting and killing, except for a small part of the devil world that escaped back to the underground devil world, the rest of the devil world was annihilated. There were no survivors. Chapter 244. After wiping out all the demons on the surface, Yi Tianzong and the other mythical experts destroyed 10 giant tunnels that led to the underground demon world. They did not intend to follow up their victory and attack the underground demon world. Not to mention that they were not familiar with the environment of the underground demon world. After so many years of fighting with the demon clan, the higher-ups of the major forces had long known that there was an unfathomable Wushang demon lord in the demon world. Although the Wushang demon lord could not come out from the depths of the underground, it did not mean that the Wushang demon lord could not do anything to them if they went underground. Yi Tianzong did not intend to take the risk himself. He had long decided that he would never enter the underground demon world before he was promoted to the Divine King realm. After destroying the 10 giant tunnels, Yi Tianzong and more than 1 million experts of the Hao Ranjin sect, who were above the Wu King realm, gathered the Haoran righteousness between heaven and earth, and then set up the Haoran Tiangang demon sealing formation that covered a radius of 300 miles. With the seal of the Haoran Tiangang demon sealing formation, the demon clan could no longer enter the central plains through the underground tunnels. At this point, the hidden danger of the demon clan in the central plains was completely solved. This was an unprecedented victory since the appearance of the demon clan in ancient times. Another 10 years passed. The Central Plains, which had completely eliminated the hidden danger of the demon clan, seemed to have a great increase in luck. In these 10 years, all kinds of peerless talents emerged one after another, dazzling all the major forces. It was as if they had been accumulating for a long time and were released all at once. This kind of situation where heaven's prides emerged in large numbers made all the major forces believe that it was the era of a great era's struggle. A new generation of mythical experts would emerge from these heaven's prides. At the same time, the former mythical experts would slowly retire from this era and make way for the new generation. However, only a few higher-ups of the Hao Ranjin sect, Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 great holy lands could vaguely guess that this was the will of heaven and earth accumulating strength for the future crisis. The disturbances of the outside world did not affect the rapid development of Hao Ranjin sect in the slightest. In the Central Plains, there was an endless stream of outstanding talents, and a large portion of them had entered Hao Ranjin sect. The Hao Ranjin sect was not stingy with all kinds of resources and vigorously nurtured these geniuses. While they were laying down a solid foundation, they could grow up at the fastest speed. At the same time, Yi Tianzong built a good fortune spirit pool on Tiangang Peak. Now, Hao Ranjin sect had a total of 3 good fortune spirit pools and 1 good fortune profound pool. In addition to the Raging Fire Formation, the Mysterious Ice Formation, the Sumeru Formation, the Heart Refining Formation, and the Wanxiang Formation, the strength of the Hao Ranjin sect had been increasing rapidly. It was now the strongest in the entire Central Plains. Hao Ranjin sect's higher-ups also made plans to build a war fortress and a sky-patrolling battleship while vigorously cultivating the talented disciples and developing the sect's strength. In the plan of the Hao Ranjin sect's higher-ups, the number of war fortresses and the number of sky-patrolling battleships would reach 10 in the next 50 years. They also began to plan the construction of a space-suppressing war fortress. Hao Ranjin sect advanced steadily according to the established plan. As Hao Ranjin sect continued to grow stronger, the demon holy lands that occupied the Haoran mountain range with Hao Ranjin sect also became more and more low-key. After so many years, they had also accepted their fate and obediently guarded their own territories. They no longer thought about taking back the mountain range that Hao Ranjin sect had occupied. The black-winged tiger demon, the 9-headed demon bird, and the celestial ferret, which originally belonged to the demon holy lands in the Haoran mountain range, could not stand being ostracized and suppressed because of their complicated relationship with Hao Ranjin sect. In the end, all of them sought refuge with Hao Ranjin sect. Hao Ranjin sect also happily accepted these 3 demon clans. 10 years had passed. Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu, who had spent most of their time with Yi Tianzong in the Immortal Mansion, had also successfully completed the 4th transformation of the 9 transformations of True God with the help of various precious resources provided by Yi Tianzong. They had improved in all aspects, and their strength had reached a new level. After the two of them had safely completed the fourth transformation of the true God, Yi Tianzong also breathed a sigh of relief. The idea of going to the vast thousand worlds of the human race once again arose in his heart. Sensing the hidden worries of the two peerless beauties, Yi Tianzong hugged the two of them and said, "Don't worry, I've already joined an emperor-level sect in the vast thousand worlds of the human race. As long as I'm careful, there won't be any danger. I also want to accompany the two of you, but time waits for no man. According to the hint sent by the will of heaven and earth, the crisis beyond the heavens is getting closer and closer. The strength of our sect is still not strong enough. When we reach the myth realm, there aren't any resources or treasures in this world that can quickly improve our strength. We can only search for resources in the vast thousand worlds that I'm going to support the myth realm of the Hao Ranjin sect to become stronger quickly. After I pass the test and am promoted to the status of an intermediate disciple, I can bring the two of you to the vast thousand world." "Yes." After comforting Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu, Yi Tianzong announced to the public that he would be going into seclusion again. After that, he bade farewell to the two of them and went to the depths of the immortal mansion again. After passing through the colorful barrier, he returned to the cave that he had left in the vast thousand worlds of the human race. Breathing in the qi of heaven and earth that was obviously many times thicker and richer than the profound spirit world, Yi Tianzong gave up the idea of continuing to comprehend the laws of the vast thousand worlds after comprehending them. It was too slow. The degree of laws contained in the vast thousand worlds was far higher than that of the middle thousand world. However, this did not mean that it would be easier to comprehend the laws of the vast thousand worlds than in the middle thousand world. On the contrary, it was much more difficult to comprehend the laws of heaven and earth in the vast thousand worlds than in the middle thousand world. Although the laws of heaven and earth in the vast thousand worlds were more complete, they were also more obscure and profound. It was much more difficult to comprehend. In the vast thousand worlds, it was normal for a myth realm first heaven to not make any progress in comprehending the laws of heaven and earth for hundreds of years. After adjusting his state, Yi Tianzong broke the boulder that sealed him and walked out of the cave. He then identified the direction and headed towards the nearby city. After returning to the profound spirit world for more than 15 years, Yi Tianzong had spent more than a year and a half in the vast thousand world. After traveling for more than 2 months, he returned to the mysterious sky sect. After returning to the mysterious sky sect, Yi Tianzong got busy again. While continuing to repair and set up various formations, Yi Tianzong also obeyed the instructions of the mysterious sky sect's sect master and brought more than 200 disciples of the mysterious sky sect who had learned formations before. He taught them some profound knowledge of formations. Of course, these were not for nothing. The higher-ups of the mysterious sky sect gave Yi Tianzong generous rewards for the formation missions he received to teach the disciples about formations. Yi Tianzong also received a lot of resources and contribution points from the mysterious sky sect. While teaching the disciples about formations, Yi Tianzong also showed off his other ability, alchemy. Yi Tianzong's alchemy technique was a combination of his own alchemy technique and the vast true alchemy knowledge passed down from the immortal mansion. The true alchemy knowledge passed down from the immortal mansion to Yi Tianzong contained 36 of the most mainstream alchemy methods in the vast thousand world. Yi Tianzong dared to guarantee that no one below the divine king realm in the vast thousand worlds was more proficient in alchemy than him. Yi Tianzong found an opportunity to refine a cauldron of divine essence pills in front of many disciples of the mysterious sky sect that could assist the cultivation of the myth realm. In order to avoid being in the limelight, Yi Tianzong only displayed 80% of his alchemy skills. Under such circumstances, the divine essence pills that he refined were better than the pills refined by the mysterious sky sect's alchemy elders. This made the disciples of the mysterious sky sect unable to resist. It was not difficult for the alchemy pavilion in the mysterious sky sect to refine divine essence pills. Generally, as long as one's cultivation base reached the second heaven of the myth realm, one could refine divine essence pills. The more talented ones could refine divine essence pills at the first heaven of the myth realm. However, the divine essence pills refined by the alchemy pavilion's disciples were much worse than those refined by Yi Tianzong. Not only were there more impurities, but the medicinal effects were also inferior. The alchemy pavilion's elder was a divine king. Yi Tianzong's divine essence pills were comparable to those refined by the alchemy pavilion's elder. This matter shocked the entire mysterious sky sect's disciples below the fourth heaven of the myth realm. The difference between the difficulty of asking Yi Tianzong and the alchemy pavilion's elder to refine pills with the same effects was like heaven and earth. After learning about Yi Tianzong's alchemy skills, the alchemy pavilion's divine king elder wanted to take Yi Tianzong as his disciple. However, Yi Tianzong tactfully rejected him on the grounds that he was already an apprentice when he obtained the alchemy inheritance and was more inclined towards cultivation. Although the alchemy pavilion's elder found it a pity, he did not force him. In the following 20 years, Yi Tianzong comprehended the profound and obscure laws of heaven and earth in the Great Thousand World. From time to time, he would refine pills for the other disciples of the mysterious sky sect and collect reward. In 20 years, Yi Tianzong had accumulated a large amount of resources suitable for the cultivation of the myth realm. Chapter 245. In the past 20 years, Yi Tianzong had not only accumulated a large amount of resources suitable for cultivation below the fourth heaven of myth realm, but he had also refined many divine essence pills and divine transcendence pills. The so-called divine transcendence pills were pills that could amplify a cultivator's senses and primordial spirit, help them comprehend the laws of nature, and increase the chances of those below the myth realm to reach the myth realm. Yi Tianzong had discovered several key ingredients for refining the divine transcendence pills from a disciple below the myth realm by chance. The divine transcendence pill was a type of pill recorded in the legacy of alchemy that the immortal mansion had given to Yi Tianzong. Yi Tianzong had searched for a long time before he found the pill. However, the key ingredients for refining the divine transcendence pills could only be produced in large quantities in the Great Thousand World. They were very rare in the Middle World, and some even did not exist. The Great Thousand World of the human race had developed for countless years, so there were naturally plenty of pills that could help cultivators below the myth realm to reach the myth realm. Compared to the divine transcendence pills, these pills had some differences, but they were more or less the same. However, the divine transcendence pills not only increased a cultivator's chances of reaching the myth realm by 30%, but they also had no side effects on their future cultivation. More importantly, the ingredients for refining the divine transcendence pills were very different from other pills that could help cultivators reach the myth realm. Only 30% of the ingredients were the same. The pills, refining methods, and ingredients that could help cultivators below the myth realm to reach the myth realm were all strategic resources that were tightly controlled by the supreme forces in the Great Thousand World. They would not easily leak them out. Even as an emperor-level force, the Black Heaven sect did not have control over the refinement and ingredients of these pills. They mostly bought them from the supreme forces. The Black Heaven sect had also developed a pill that could help cultivators reach the myth realm. It was called the Divine Transcendence Pill. However, it could not be compared to the pills in the hands of the supreme forces. There were also some side effects that would affect future cultivation. Therefore, the Divine Transcendence Pill was very important to the Black Heaven sect. In the past 20 years, Yi Tianzong had used the resources and rewards he had collected to refine over 5,000 divine connection pills and over 100,000 divine essence pills. At the same time, he had also saved up a large amount of resources. However, Yi Tianzong didn't publicize the matter of the transcendence pill. Instead, he concealed it for the time being. 20 years in the Great Thousand World was only 2 years in the Profound Spirit World. Yi Tianzong did not plan to return to the Profound Spirit World. The resources and pills he had accumulated were not enough. When he wanted to return, it would be the time for the Hao Ranjin sect to leap forward and break the seal of heaven and earth again. On this day, Yi Tianzong came to the Black Heaven Great Hall of the Black Heaven sect with a solemn expression and requested to see the sect master. The Black Heaven sect was an emperor-level force, and the sect master of the Black Heaven sect was also a god king. Not to mention the sect's affairs, it was normal for him to cultivate in seclusion for hundreds of years. It was impossible for an ordinary second firmament myth to meet him whenever they wanted. Many disciples of the Black Heaven sect had joined the sect for hundreds or thousands of years and might not even be able to see the sect master once. However, Yi Tianzong was not an ordinary disciple of the Black Heaven sect. Speaking of which, the identity that the Immortal Mansion had arranged for Yi Tianzong was still very useful. Not only was Yi Tianzong an inner disciple of the Black Heaven sect, but he also had some connections with the sect master of the Black Heaven sect. Yi Tianzong's identity naturally did not pop out of a crack in a rock. He also had parents in the Great Thousand World. However, his parents had died in the world battlefield early on. His father and mother, who had died in this world, were once disciples of the sect master of the Black Heaven sect. The sect master of the Black Heaven sect had a total of 36 disciples, but these 36 disciples were divided into inner disciples and in-name disciples. The other higher-ups of the Black Heaven sect also had inner disciples and in-name disciples. This situation was very common in the entire Great Thousand World of the human race. Yi Tianzong's grandfather was once an elder of the Black Heaven sect and died in battle for the sect. His father and mother, who had died in this world, were also in-name disciples of the sect master of the Black Heaven sect. Their cultivation had reached the peak of the fifth firmament of the mythical realm. They were only one step away from advancing to the sixth firmament of the mythical realm and becoming the inner disciple of the sect master of the Black Heaven sect. Unfortunately, due to the siege of hostile forces, they had died in the world battlefield early on. Therefore, Yi Tianzong still had some connections with the sect master of the Black Heaven sect. He could be said to be a legitimate seedling in the Black Heaven sect. Yi Tianzong had grown up in the Black Heaven sect since he was young. Therefore, no one would suspect that Yi Tianzong would harm the Black Heaven sect. Yi Tianzong had such a good identity, so he naturally would not do anything to harm himself. The sect master of the Black Heaven sect soon arrived at the Black Heaven Great Hall. When he saw Yi Tianzong, there was only a trace of relief and satisfaction in his eyes. There was no impatience. After all, Yi Tianzong was naturally under his command. For a junior with outstanding aptitude, as long as he was not an evil person with evil intentions, who would not maintain a favorable and encouraging attitude, the sect master of the Black Heaven sect restrained the vast and powerful pressure on his body and said gently to Yi Tianzong, "Tianzong, why are you looking for me this time? Do you want me to guide you in your cultivation? Your cultivation realm has not improved for a while. According to your accumulation, this should not be the case. Is there any difficulty?" Hearing the first half of the sect master's joke, Yi Tianzong did not take it seriously. After hearing it, Yi Tianzong said respectfully, "Sect master, I naturally do not dare to trouble you with cultivation. Moreover, I have long been confident about breaking through to the third heaven. It's just that I have cultivated a secret method and my accumulation is still not enough. I still need to wait for a while." Noticing that the sect master of the Black Heaven sect was a little puzzled, Yi Tianzong continued, "In fact, I came here this time mainly because I have two things to offer to the sect. However, I am not at ease with giving them to the other elders, so I can only come to you." Hearing this, the sect master of the Black Heaven sect was a little interested and said, "Ha, you little guy, what are you hiding? Tell me. If what you say is not important enough, I will punish you for criticizing the elders of the sect. Yi Tianzong said directly, Sect Master, the things I want to offer to the sect are the spiritual pool of good fortune and the divine elixir. You also know that I have received the inheritance of a strong formation master, but that is only a part of it. The person who received the inheritance is actually proficient in the methods of elixir, formation, and crafting, but his aptitude for cultivation is not very good. After more than 100,000 years of cultivation, he was only at the 6th heaven of the myth realm. However, his research on elixir, formation, and crafting is enough to surpass most of the divine kings. From his inheritance, he developed a spiritual pool of good fortune that can greatly increase the aptitude and origin of cultivators below the myth realm. He also developed a divine elixir that can increase the chances of reaching the myth realm by 30% without any side effect. The ingredients of this divine elixir are quite different from other elixirs of the same type. The key is that the elixir is not something precious in the current world, and it is not under the control of the supreme forces. As soon as Yi Tianzong finished speaking, the sect master of the Black Heaven sect, who did not seem to care much, suddenly became serious. A light flashed in his eyes, and Yi Tianzong felt the pressure from the space around him. The sect master of the Black Heaven sect asked for confirmation. Are you telling the truth? Yi Tianzong replied, I am not lying. This is the method to build the spiritual pool of good fortune and make the divine elixir. You will know when you see it. These two things are not very useful in my hands, so it is better to give them to the sect in exchange for some rewards. After saying that, Yi Tianzong took out the jade slip with the records from his storage ring and handed it to the sect master of the Black Heaven sect. The sect master of the Black Heaven sect took the jade slip and checked it with his soul energy. He then returned to his usual calmness. He looked at Yi Tianzong and said, You are very considerate of the sect and know how to make a choice. You are very good. I will discuss your contribution with the higher-ups of the sect, and you will not be mistreated. You can go back first. I will give you your reward in a few days. Yes. Yi Tianzong did not hesitate and left the Black Heaven Palace. After Yi Tianzong left, the sect master of the Black Heaven sect smiled and said to himself, Haha, little guy, you still have a trick up your sleeve. The secret technique you cultivate is not simple. However, everyone has their own fate. A qualified cultivator must always keep a trump card. You can think about the sect after obtaining an opportunity. You are a true member of the Black Heaven sect. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. Yi Tianzong was summoned to the Black Heaven Palace again. This time, it was the sect master of the Black Heaven sect who received Yi Tianzong. After Yi Tianzong arrived, the sect leader of the Black Heaven sect said directly, The method of building the fortune spirit pool and refining the transcendence elixir is very important to the Black Heaven sect. I've already told the upper echelons of the sect and reported it to the Great Emperor Old Ancestor. The 3 great emperors are very satisfied that you are willing to give these 2 important things to the sect. After discussing with the higher-ups of the sect, we have decided to give you 3 rewards. The first is that you can refine the divine elixir, divine essence elixir, and other pills on your own in the future and sell them to other cultivators. However, the divine elixir can only be sold in the sect unless it is someone important to you. Other pills that are circulated in the great wide world are not restricted by the sect. The second reward is that you can build the creation spirit pool, but it can only be used in the sect to nurture the sect's disciples. Of course, if you have descendants, you can use it as you wish. The third reward is that you will be rewarded with 5 million contribution points. You can choose any treasure or spiritual medicine that is not more than 10 million contribution points from the sect's treasury. You can also choose a divine ability from the core disciple area in the scripture library. You can choose 5 divine abilities from the inner disciple area. These are the rewards. Do you have any objections? After the sect master of the Black Heaven sect finished speaking, He looked at Yi Tianzong with a smile and asked. Yi Tianzong did not have any objections after hearing about the rewards from the sect master of the Black Heaven sect. Instead, he was only happy. Among the 3 rewards mentioned by the sect master of the Black Heaven sect, Yi Tianzong paid the most attention to the second reward, which was that he could build the creation spirit pool to nurture the sect's disciples. What did this mean? The sect master of the Black Heaven sect did not say it explicitly, but Yi Tianzong was not stupid. He soon understood that the higher-ups of the sect had tacitly agreed that he could form his own faction and nurture his own forces. As long as he did not court death and develop steadily, he would at least become an elder with real power in the sect in the future. Chapter 246. Yi Tianzong understood very well that this was the benefit of having a righteous identity. If it were any other disciple who had joined the sect, they would not receive such treatment. This directly gave him a chance to compete for the position of the sect master. In the future, he would at least be a powerful elder. Although the chance of becoming the sect master was very slim, he had the qualifications to compete for it. This qualification was very important to Yi Tianzong. Seeing the joy on Yi Tianzong's face, the sect master of the Mystic Sky sect knew that Yi Tianzong had understood the true purpose of the 3 rewards. After encouraging Yi Tianzong, he let Yi Tianzong go back. After Yi Tianzong returned to his cultivation cave, other than comprehending the obscure laws of heaven and earth, he continued to collect resources and rewards, refining various pills and setting up formations for the disciples of the Mystic Sky sect. During this period, he also took the time to go to the Sutra Pavilion and the sect's treasure vault to collect the rewards he had received. Day after day, year after year. In the blink of an eye, 30 years had passed. Due to the creation spirit pool and the divine elixir that Yi Tianzong had contributed, the number of people in the Mystic Sky sect who had broken through to the myth realm in the past 30 years had increased by more than 5 times compared to the same period before. Moreover, the average aptitude and strength of these disciples who had broken through to the myth realm later were much higher than before. For the sake of long-term development, the Mystic Sky sect had also increased the number of disciples recruited every 10 years. In addition to the 30 years that followed, Yi Tianzong had already stayed in this super boundless world of the human race for 50 years. He had already accumulated enough medicinal pills and cultivation resources. He had accumulated more than 20,000 divine elixirs and more than 300,000 divine essence pills. There were also divine body pills, divine soul pills, and many other spiritual medicine resources that were used to assist in cultivation. There were also resources and materials used to build the creation spirit pool and the creation black pool. Yi Tianzong had used his contribution points to buy a storage ring with a radius of 100 miles. It was already filled with all kinds of resources. Even the inner world that he had opened up was filled with a small part of it. Due to his powerful soul, Yi Tianzong's comprehension of the laws of heaven and earth in the boundless world had exceeded 20%. Feeling that the time was right, Yi Tianzong announced to the outside world that he was going into closed-door cultivation. Then, he sealed his cultivation cave. After waiting for another 3 months, he disappeared from the cave and left the human race's boundless world. 50 years in the Great Thousand World, 5 years in the profound spirit world, and 20 years in the outer area of the boundless immortal abode. Once again, Yi Tianzong traveled a long distance and returned to the outer area of the immortal mansion. Once again, he saw Ling Xinyue and Shenyu, who were waiting for him. Hugging Ling Xinyue and Shenyu, Yi Tianzong did not care about anything else. First, he had sex with the 2 of them for half a month and gave them a large amount of divine essence pills and cultivation resources. Then, he walked out of the immortal mansion. After coming out of closed-door cultivation, Yi Tianzong first gave each of his parents and other relatives 5,000 divine essence pills and a lot of resources to assist in the cultivation of the 9 cycles of true God. Then, he gathered the higher-ups of the Hao Ranjin sect and directly told them three things. The first was the matter of the divine essence pills. After Yi Tianzong explained the effects of the divine essence pills, under the excited expressions of the other higher-ups of the Hao Ranjin sect, he directly took out 10,000 divine essence pills, 100,000 divine essence pills, 50,000 divine body pills, and 20,000 divine soul pills. The second thing was to build 3 more creation spirit pools and 1 more creation profound pool. Then, he announced that the seal of heaven and earth would be broken again in 30 years. The third thing was to hold the strongest Wu Xing competition in the Central Plains in 10 years. At that time, the top 30 of the competition would be rewarded with divine essence pills and divine essence pills by the Hao Ranjin sect. The top 100 would be rewarded with 10 divine essence pills, and the top 300 would be rewarded with 3 divine essence pills. This was to increase their strength in the face of the crisis in the future. After announcing the 3 things, Yi Tianzong did not stay idle. He went to the foot of the 7 mountains occupied by the people of the Hao Ranjin sect. With his powerful strength, he used the rock-shifting magic skill of Whip Mountain to place the 7 medium-sized spirit veins and 70 small spirit veins he obtained from the human clan's super big thousand world at the foot of the 7 mountains. Then, he set up a powerful protective formation. In the human clan's super big thousand world, spirit veins were a relatively widespread currency. Spirit veins were divided into small spirit veins, medium-sized spirit veins, large spirit veins, and super spirit veins. Super spirit veins were usually used by great emperors to buy and trade resources. Above super spirit veins were the ancestral spirit veins of heaven and earth. The ancestral spirit veins of heaven and earth were the foundation of the supreme sects. Only celestial venerables and supreme sects would use them to trade resources. Above the ancestral spirit veins of heaven and earth were the most precious innate spirit veins. These innate spirit veins of heaven and earth could absorb the chaotic qi outside the world and transform it into the purest innate vital qi. These innate spirit veins were very rare in the human clan's super big thousand world. There were no more than 30 of them. They were only controlled by the supreme celestial venerables and some extremely powerful supreme sect. If a small spirit vein was consumed without any replenishment, it could allow an ordinary expert at the 3rd sky of Myth Realm to cultivate for 5 years. The vital qi of heaven and earth contained in a medium-sized spirit vein was more than 30 times that of a small spirit vein. Yi Tianzong had obtained a total of 10 medium-sized spirit veins and 100 small spirit veins. He had paid a hefty price to obtain these spirit veins. He had set up a spirit-gathering formation to continuously support 7 medium-sized spirit veins and 70 small spirit veins. Then, he had set up a powerful protective formation. Not long after, the concentration of the vital qi of heaven and earth on the 7 mountain peaks occupied by the disciples of the Hao Ranjin sect had more than doubled, and it was still increasing. The upper echelons of the Haoran Orthodox sect had already known about this beforehand. They immediately informed the entire sect that this was the spirit vein that the young master had set up. In the future, the cultivation environment would be better, etc. In any case, Yi Tianzong had once again gained a wave of reputation within the Haoran Orthodox sect. After completing the deployment of the spirit veins, Yi Tianzong first collected a lot of resources and materials to build the battle fortress and the Sky Patrol battleship to the people in the Formation Tool Hall. Then, he took out the resources and materials he had collected and began to build the Creation Spirit Pool and the Creation Profound Pool on Tiangang Peak. By the time he was done, 3 months had already passed. After finishing his work, Yi Tianzong once again entered a state of semi-seclusion. In addition to comprehending the law of the profound spirit world with Ling Xinyue and Xinyu, he also took time to refine some divine vitality pills, divine body pills, and divine soul pills. On one side, Yi Tianzong was living a leisurely life. On the other side, because of the various pills he had provided, the number of myth realm experts in the Hao Ranjin sect had increased by a large amount. Even the higher-ups of the sect had entered the fast track of cultivation. All the more than 1,000 elders who were at the top of Wuxing and could not advance, after using their merit points to exchange for the divine vitality pills and other pills they needed, many of them had successfully advanced to the first sky of Myth Realm. In just 5 years, the number of Myth Realm experts in the Hao Ranjin sect had increased to 230. How terrifying was that? In fact, the main reason why these elders at the top of Wuxing could not advance to the Myth Realm was not necessarily that they did not have enough accumulation, but that the world did not allow it. To be more precise, the world did not have enough accumulation, and the risk of breaking through was too high. The reason why the people in the Hao Ranjin sect could have such a high success rate was not only because of the divine vitality pills, but also because Yi Tianzong had sacrificed the remaining 3 medium-sized spirit veins and 30 small spirit veins he had previously set up to the will of the world. In exchange, the world allowed the people in the Hao Ranjin sect to advance to the Myth Realm within 5 years. In addition to the addition of more than 200 Myth Realm experts at the first sky, the higher-ups of the Hao Ranjin sect who had previously advanced to the first sky of Myth Realm broke through to the second sky of Myth Realm with the support of the Divine Vitality Pills, Divine Body Pills, and Divine Soul Pills. In addition to Yi Tianzong, Yi Haoran, and the others, the number of Myth Realm experts in the Hao Ranjin sect had reached 26. The number of Myth Realm experts in the Hao Ranjin sect had increased greatly. Because of the sufficient resources, martial artists below the Myth Realm could be found everywhere. In 5 years, the strength of the Hao Ranjin sect had increased by nearly tenfold. The higher-ups of the Hao Ranjin sect could proudly say that even without Yi Tianzong, the Hao Ranjin sect was still the strongest overlord in the Central Plains. It would not be a problem for them to fight against 50 Holy Lands alone. After 5 years of dormant development, the higher-ups of the Hao Ranjin sect put the Central Plains' strongest Wuxing competition on the agenda. Because at this time, the Hao Ranjin sect already had the capital and strength to suppress all those who did not agree with them. According to the usual practice, Yi Haoran and the other higher-ups of the Hao Ranjin sect first invited their allies who were on the same side, such as the Lingyun Hall Master, the Kunlun Sect Master, and the 10 Great Sacred Masters. First, he showed them part of the strength of the Hao Ranjin sect. Then, he told them about the Divine Vitality Pills and the Divine Vitality Pills while hiding the existence of the Divine Body Pills and Divine Soul Pills. In the Myth Realm, it was the easiest to cultivate the Divine Vitality, followed by the Divine Body and lastly, the Divine Soul. After Yi Haoran explained the effects of the Divine Elixir and Divine Essence Elixir, to the delight of the Lingyun Palace Master and the others, he said that he would give them a 50% discount, allowing them to use their resources and treasures to purchase the Divine Elixir and Divine Essence Elixir. Then, he told the Lingyun Hall Master and the others that in order to deal with the future outer space crisis and increase the strength of the Central Plains, the Hao Ranjin sect would hold the Central Plains' strongest Wuxing competition in 5 years. At that time, the top 30 of the competition would be rewarded with Divine Vitality Pills and Divine Vitality Pills by the Hao Ranjin sect. The top 100 would be rewarded with 10 Divine Vitality Pills, and the top 300 would be rewarded with 3 Divine Vitality Pills. In the future, the strongest Wuxing competition would be held once every 10 years. Finally, he told the Lingyun Hall Master and the others that because the outer space crisis was approaching, they had decided to break the seal of heaven and earth again in 25 years to increase the capacity of this world. He hoped that they would be prepared as soon as possible. After 4 hours of discussion, the Lingyun Hall Master, the Kunlun Sect Master, the 10 Great Sacred Masters, and the others left the Hao Ranjin sect in excitement. Chapter 247. A month later, the entire Chinese plains was in an uproar because of two pieces of news from Hao Ranjin sect. Hao Ranjin sect had already developed a divine transcendence pill that could help the elites at the peak of Wu Xing increase their chances of reaching myth realm by 30%. They also had a divine essence pill that could help the elites at myth realm cultivate. The second piece of news was that Hao Ranjin sect planned to hold the strongest Wu Xing tournament in the Chinese plains 5 years later. The top 30 in the tournament would be rewarded with divine essence pills and divine transcendence pills by Hao Ranjin sect. The top 100 would be rewarded with 10 divine essence pills, and the top 300 would be rewarded with 3 divine essence pills. The strongest Wu Xing tournament would be held once every 10 years, and a King Sage ranking board would be released. The King Sage ranking board would record the top 300 in the strongest Wu Xing tournament. A Wu Xing would only have 2 chances to participate in the Wu Xing tournament. All the major forces in the Chinese plains who received these 2 pieces of news confirmed the authenticity of the news to Hao Ranjin sect. The elites who were stuck at the peak of Wu Xing and could not break through for a long time made up their minds to participate in the Wu Xing tournament 5 years later. They were stuck at the peak of Wu Xing and could not break through for a long time. In fact, they were already in their later years and had no hope of breaking through because they were too old. They could only watch as they died. Now that they had a chance to break through, they could not give up on it. Even if they had to pay any price, they would not mind dying. The entire Chinese plains was in a state of turmoil because of the 2 pieces of news from Hao Ranjin sect. Undercurrents were also surging in the dark. Regardless of whether it was humans or monsters, all the major forces of power used their intelligence network in a frenzy to investigate all the people who posed a threat to the elites of their forces. If you know yourself and your enemy, you will never be defeated. It would be even better if you could get rid of some of your opponents beforehand. Myth realm martial artists were the rulers of the current world, and they stood at the top of the world. Each myth realm martial artist represented a powerful foundation and kismet, and no one would complain about having too many myth realm martial artists in their own faction. If it weren't for the fact that they knew that they couldn't afford to offend the Hao Ranjin sect, the major forces of the Central Plains would have long since come to snatch the divinity pills and divine essence pills. While the top masters of Wu Xing from the various forces were secretly preparing for the battle, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 Holy Lands, who were on the same side as the Hao Ranjin sect, enjoyed the effects of the Divine Power Elixir and the Divine Essence Elixir in advance. The Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 Great Sacred Grounds spent a large amount of resources to purchase 100 Divine Connection Pills and 500 Divine Essence Pills from the Hao Ranjin sect. The recovery of the profound spirit world, although it had only been a short period of time and it had not accumulated enough resources, but with the recovery of the world, there were many heaven-defying treasures that appeared. The Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 Great Holy Lands were second only to the Hao Ranjin sect, and they had accumulated a lot of resources and treasures through their own strength, purchasing, and trading with the Sea Tribe. Although buying 100 Divine Power Elixirs and 500 Divine Essence Pills cost a lot of resources, it was not even 1/5 of the resources they had accumulated. After obtaining the Divine Power Elixirs and the Divine Essence Pills, the Lingyun Hall Master, the Kunlun Sect Master, and the 10 Great Sacred Grounds' strength increased rapidly with the help of the Divine Essence Pills. In just 1 year, they had risen from the early stage of the first sky of Myth Realm to the middle stage of the first sky of Myth Realm. With the help of the Divine Power Elixirs, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun Sect, and the 10 Great Sacred Grounds finally had new Myth Realm Masters. The Lingyun Hall Master, the Kunlun Sect Master, and the 10 Great Sacred Grounds were no longer alone. 3 years later, the Lingyun Hall and the Kunlun Sect gained 8 early-stage Myth Realm Masters, and the 10 Great Sacred Grounds each had 7 early-stage Myth Realm Masters. Due to the risk of breaking through, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun Sect, and the 10 great sacred grounds each lost more than a dozen top masters of wuxing. But they didn't care. A myth realm master could fight against hundreds of top masters of wuxing, and they only lost a dozen. The success rate was too high. If it weren't for the fact that many top masters of wuxing didn't have enough accumulation and the small hope of breaking through, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 great sacred grounds would have used up all the divine power elixirs in one go. At worst, they could just buy more. Another 2 years passed. It had been 5 years since the Hao Ranjin sect announced the wuxing competition. There was less than a month left before the start of the strongest wuxing competition. The human and monster forces in the Central Plains all rushed to the Supreme Holy City one after another. The Supreme Holy City was a huge city built by the Hao Ranjin sect and the major forces in the Central Plains. It spanned thousands of miles and was built at the center of the Central Plains for the purpose of holding the strongest wuxing competition. In the Supreme Holy City, Yi Tianzong set up a very powerful defensive formation and an ordinary spirit-gathering formation that covered the entire city. The spirit-gathering formation could gather the qi of heaven and earth within 100,000 miles and gather it in the Supreme Holy City, making the qi of heaven and earth in the Supreme Holy City 5 times denser than the outside world. No matter what, it was the largest city in the Central Plains, and it had a special meaning. It couldn't be too shabby. Half a month passed quickly, and all the major forces in the Central Plains came to Supreme Holy City one after another. Along with them were the myth realm elites of their respective forces. Even the 72 sacred grounds and 800 super forces in the Southern Wasteland Alliance, who knew about the situation, all sent important people to the Supreme Holy City. The major forces in the Southern Wasteland Alliance were very envious of the people in the Central Plains. They were still working hard to develop and catch up with the people in the Central Plains. While they were happy about the increase of wuxing level masters, the people in the Central Plains had already started to plan to break through to the myth realm under the guidance of the Hao Ranjin sect. The divinity pills that could increase the chances of breaking through to the myth realm and the divinity pills that were greatly beneficial to the cultivation of the myth realm were 2 extremely precious divine items in the whole world. The Hao Ranjin sect had already refined them in batches, and they even took out many of them to reward the wuxing in the Central Plains. Why didn't the Southern Wasteland have such a good thing? Who didn't want to break through to the myth realm? On the last day before the start of the competition, the people from the Hao Ranjin sect finally arrived at the Supreme Holy City, while the people from the major forces were looking forward to it with complicated emotions. There were a total of 500 people from the Hao Ranjin sect, and 150 of them were myth realm masters. Other than Li Qingya, Su Mingxin, and the other 3 women who were guarding the Hao Ranjin sect's headquarters, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, Xin Yu, Yi Haoren, Yi Haoyun, Yi Yuanshan, and most of the higher-ups of the Hao Ranjin sect came. The people from the Hao Ranjin sect didn't have any intention to hide. When they teleported to the sky above the Supreme Holy City through the void teleportation formation and came out of the spatial rift, they all released their most powerful auras. More than 150 Myth Realm Masters at the middle stage of the first sky of Myth Realm and above released their full power and auras. In an instant, the vast divine power that seemed to be able to crush the world and turn the universe upside down swept across the space within a radius of 1,000,000 miles like the autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves. All the people from the major forces were shocked. This was especially true for the most powerful Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, Xin Yu, Yi Haoren, Yi Haoyun, Yi Yuanshan, and the others. Their divine power, which was far more powerful than that of ordinary second sky of Myth Realm Masters, made all the Myth Realm Masters in the Supreme Holy City feel frightened and suffocated. They were so powerful that they couldn't resist at all. It turned out that the strength of the Hao Ranjin sect had reached such an unbelievable level without them noticing. Could this be the full strength of the Hao Ranjin sect? The higher-ups of the major forces absolutely believed that this was not the full strength of the Hao Ranjin sect. It was no wonder that the Hao Ranjin sect would take out the divine elixir and the original god elixir to reward those Wu Xing who had not yet broken through to the myth realm. With the strength shown by the Hao Ranjin sect, even if all the Wu Xing who had obtained the divine elixir all broke through to the myth realm, what threat could they pose to them? Even if they became enemies, it would only take some effort. Moreover, there was Yi Tianzong, who regarded myth realm masters as ants. Even if there were thousands of myth realm masters, what could they do? At this moment, the major forces of the human clan and the demon clan in the Central Plains silently gave up the unreachable fantasy in their hearts. They completely stopped thinking about challenging the authority and status of the Hao Ranjin sect. The people from the major forces of the southern wasteland had long been dumbfounded. They only knew that the Hao Ranjin sect was powerful and was the overlord of the Central Plains, but they had never imagined that it would be so unimaginably powerful. They had no doubt that the Hao Ranjin sect alone could flatten the southern wasteland. With a sweep of his divine soul, he knew the expressions of the major forces in the supreme holy city. This was also a deliberate move by Yi Tianzong and the higher-ups of the Hao Ranjin sect. The original god elixir and the divine elixir were too tempting in the current world. It was impossible for the major forces to not have some thoughts about it. Then, they might as well show the invincible strength of the Hao Ranjin sect today, completely destroy the fantasy of the major forces, and establish the supreme overlord that no one could shake in the future. As for the effect, it could be seen from the expressions of the major forces. Even if there were still forces who did not give up, they would be completely destroyed when the time came. The next day, under the auspices of Yi Haoran, the long-awaited strongest Wu Xing competition in the Central Plains finally began. This time, Yi Haoran announced on behalf of the Hao Ranjin sect that in order to ensure fairness and give more opportunities to Wu Xing experts, the Hao Ranjin sect would not participate in the strongest Wu Xing competition this time. At the same time, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 Holy Lands also announced that they would only send 10 people to participate in the competition this time. The decision of the Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall, and the other major forces in the Central Plains were relieved. In every Tianjiao competition, the disciples of the Hao Ranjin sect would always win first place with their explosive strength. Therefore, the major forces were not confident in facing the Wu Xing experts of the Hao Ranjin sect. Once they encountered them, there was an 80% to 90% chance that they would be defeated by them. Moreover, the Hao Ranjin sect definitely did not lack divine essence pills and Tongshan pills. Not participating in the competition indeed made them feel relieved. There was also the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 Holy Lands, who had a good relationship with the Hao Ranjin sect, and were in the same boat. The major forces did not believe that they would not be able to obtain divine essence pills and Tongshan pills from the Hao Ranjin sect. Now, they only sent out 10 people symbolically, which further confirmed their guess. It was obvious that the Hao Ranjin sect did not lack Tongshan pills and divine essence pills. Their attitude was that it would be better if they obtained them, but it did not matter if they did not obtain them. The main purpose of the competition was to learn from each other, and they would not risk their lives to fight for the top 30 places. In this way, without these forces that they could not afford to offend, all that was left was the fight between the major forces. Chapter 248. The battlefield of the strongest Wu Xing competition was a space-secret realm with a radius of 100,000 miles created by Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, Shen Yu, Yi Haoran, and most of the myth realm experts of the Hao Ranjin sect. Because this space-secret realm was not for the Haoran Orthodox sect to use alone, Yi Tianzong used the materials provided by the various major forces to set up layers upon layers of reinforcing, defensive, spirit-gathering, and dividing formations in this space-secret realm that he opened up. After being reinforced by layers of formations, the space secret realm could withstand the long-term battle of more than 50,000 peak-level experts of wuxing at the same time. This time, the participants of the competition were all experts of the human clan and the demon clan, who were equivalent to the peak-level experts of wuxing. Only a few of them were in the late or middle stage of the ninth heaven of wuxing. Most of these participants were experts from the super forces and holy lands, and a small number of them were rogue cultivators. The number of participants in the competition was more than 300,000. Many of the peak-level experts of wuxing were near the end of their lifespans. They took advantage of this opportunity to fight. These people were the most dangerous because they did not have long to live and could only wait for death. Now that there was a chance to get rid of waiting for death, they would definitely do whatever it took. The strongest wuxing competition began. Under the division of the space formation, 30,000 participants of the human clan and the demon clan entered the space secret realm to fight. This competition was not like the Heavenly Legends competition, where the human clan and the demon clan competed separately. For the sake of fairness, there was no distinction between the human clan and the demon clan. Each opponent was randomly assigned to whoever they met. Under the watchful eyes of the myth realm experts of the major forces, all the participants fought fiercely and launched violent and powerful attacks at their opponents. At this time, for the sake of victory, no one would show mercy. Unless one side admitted defeat, the battle would continue until the final victor was decided. This strongest wuxing competition was destined to be cruel and bloody. Everyone knew that there would be a lot of casualties. But for the sake of the opportunity to break through, no one would shrink back, and neither would the major powers. Even if the contestants did not admit defeat until they were defeated and died, no one from the major forces would come to their rescue. Since he had entered the arena, he was responsible for his own life and death. Moreover, Hao Ranjin's sect was in charge, so no one dared to break the rules. All the cultivators and monster beasts who were watching the competition had different feelings as they watched the people and monster beasts who were risking their lives to fight for a chance to win. However, there was only one kind of feeling that was the same, and that was the undying pursuit and desire for a higher realm on the road of cultivation. Even Yi Tianzong, who had seen similar scenes countless times, couldn't help but feel nostalgic. From these people and demon beasts, he saw his own shadow. If he hadn't been chosen by the immortal mansion, he wouldn't even be as good as them. Perhaps he would have died on Earth in his first life. Recalling all his past experiences, Yi Tianzong let out a sigh of vicissitude. Wuxing was a top powerhouse who had reached the peak of the myth realm. The mana in his body was vast and boundless. If it was an evenly matched battle, it was normal for the battle to last for a day and a night. Since the first day of the competition, many powerhouses had failed and died every day. At the same time, the victorious cultivators and monster beasts would continue to the next battle, which was even more difficult. In the atmosphere of tension, solemnity, joy, and sadness every day, the strongest wuxing competition lasted for a month before it ended. The top 300 contestants of the competition were finally determined. Under the attention of everyone in the Supreme Holy City, Hao Ranjin's sect followed the previous announcement and gave out 10 Divine Essence pills and 1 Divine Essence pill to the top 30 contestants of the competition. From the 31st to the 100th contestant, 10 Divine Essence pills were given as a reward. From the 101st to the 300th contestant, 3 Divine Essence pills were given as a reward. They also recorded the names of the top 300 contestants and some information on the King Sage board. In the following days, the King Sage board would spread throughout the Central Plains, just like the Prodigy board. At the end of the competition, Yi Tianzong also announced that from next year onwards, Hao Ranjin's sect would auction 30 Divine Essence pills and 300 Divine Essence pills every year. The auction would be held in the Supreme Holy City. Those who were interested could participate in the auction. This news gave new hope and opportunities to those powerhouses and forces who did not get their hands on the divine essence pills and divine essence pills. Time passed year by year. In the blink of an eye, 25 years had passed. In the past 25 years, the righteous sect had sold a total of 750 divine transcendence pills and 7,500 divine essence pills to various forces in the Central Plains. At the request of the Southern Wasteland Alliance, Hao Ranjin sect also organized a Southern Wasteland Strongest Wuxing competition. The Strongest Martial Saint competition held in the Southern Wasteland paled in comparison to the Central Plains in many aspects. Only the top 100 were rewarded. The top 6 were rewarded with 1 divine elixir and 10 divine essence elixirs. The 7th to the 30th were rewarded with 10 divine essence elixirs. The 31st to the 100th were rewarded with 3 divine essence elixirs. At the same time, they also set up a Southern Wasteland King Sage board and set up an auction venue in the Southern Wasteland Holy City. Every year, 10 divine essence pills and 100 divine essence pills would be auctioned in the Southern Wasteland Holy City. In the past few years, because of the divine essence pills and divine essence pills, the number of new myth realm powerhouses in the Central Plains had increased by more than 500, and the number of new myth realm powerhouses in the Southern Wasteland had increased by more than 100. There were also those who were originally myth realm powerhouses. After taking the divine essence pills, their cultivation base had also increased by different degrees. In Hao Ranjin sect, because there was an unlimited supply of all kinds of divine essence pills, as long as one had enough merit points, they could exchange for them. Over the years, the number of myth realm powerhouses in Hao Ranjin sect had increased by more than 50, and the number of myth realm powerhouses was close to 300. Over the years, Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 Holy Lands had bought divine essence pills and divine essence pills from Hao Ranjin sect, and each of them had gained 15 to 20 new myth realm powerhouses. After the original myth realm powerhouses took the divine essence pills, their strength had also increased, and their overall strength had increased by leaps and bounds. On this day, the Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master, the 10 Holy Lords, and the others once again led the people from their respective forces to Hao Ranjin sect. In a few days, Yi Tianzong and Hao Ranjin sect would break the seal of heaven and earth again. The Lingyun Hall Master and the others came early with the stipulated number of people. A few days passed quickly. This time, the people who participated in breaking the seal of heaven and earth were all at Wu Zun realm or above Wu Zun realm. More than 20 years ago, when Yi Tianzong announced his decision to break the seal of heaven and earth, the higher-ups of Hao Ranjin sect had already informed the whole sect. After more than 20 years of buffer time and the compensation from the higher-ups of the sect, there was no disturbance or dissatisfaction. After Yi Tianzong broke the seal of heaven and earth and went through 18 heavenly thunder tribulations and the net of heaven and earth's law, he finally reached the third sky of myth realm. Moreover, with the help of the 5-colored light pillar formed by the origin of heaven and earth, as well as the divine essence pills, divine body pills, and divine soul pills, Yi Tianzong's cultivation directly reached the late stage of the third sky of myth realm. After Yi Tianzong successfully reached the seal of heaven and earth, he once again ushered in the steps needed to break the seal of heaven and earth. After going through 4 checkpoints and fighting for a day, he finally destroyed the black humanoid creature formed by the seal of heaven and earth. After that, the seal of heaven and earth expanded again. This time, according to Yi Tianzong's connection with the will of heaven and earth, the expansion of heaven and earth would be about 200 times larger. It would take 10 years for the expansion to be complete. After Yi Tianzong returned to Hao Ranjin sect, he told everyone the news and then announced to the public that he would be going into seclusion. During the expansion of heaven and earth, the qi of heaven and earth would constantly increase. All kinds of mysteries of heaven and earth would be filled with mysteries of heaven and earth, and the principles of heaven and earth would be revealed. This was the easiest time to comprehend. Everyone in Hao Ranjin sect, and even all the creatures above the Wu King realm in the entire profound spirit world, took advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime period to comprehend the mysteries of heaven and earth and principles of heaven and earth, and to improve their strength. After Yi Tianzong announced that he would be going into seclusion, he entered the immortal mansion with Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu. The profound spirit world was only a middle realm, and the immortal mansion could easily imitate the principles of heaven and earth. In the immortal mansion, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu could easily comprehend the principles of heaven and earth in the profound spirit world in a cultivation environment with 4 times the flow of time. This was also one of the heaven-defying functions of the immortal mansion. The 3,000 principles of heaven and earth in the profound spirit world were all around 70%. Yi Tianzong only comprehended 40% or 50% of the principles of heaven and earth. No matter if it was him, Ling Xinyue or Shen Yu, the 3 of them all seized the time to comprehend the principles of heaven and earth. 10 years in the outside world was 40 years in the immortal mansion. After 10 years, the recovery and expansion of the profound spirit world was finally completed. At this time, Yi Tianzong had comprehended 68% of the principles of time and space, and 65% of the principles of light and darkness and yin and yang. The 3,000 principles of heaven and earth in each world had their own emphasis. Some were weak and easy to comprehend, while some were strong and difficult to comprehend. In the profound spirit world, the principles of time, space, light and darkness, and yin and yang were all very difficult to comprehend. However, once one comprehended them, their strength would be higher than other legends who comprehended the principles of metal, wood, water, fire and earth. In these 10 years, because of the expansion of heaven and earth, the suppression on all living things had been reduced. The Hao Ranjin sect had once again increased by more than 100 legends first-stage experts. The number of people who had reached the peak of Wu Xing had already exceeded 3,000. After the expansion of heaven and earth was completed, it was time to receive the heaven and earth feedback. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu came out of the immortal mansion, and then flew to the top of Tiangang Peak. At the same time, all the people who had been waiting to participate in breaking the seal of heaven and earth, who had been counting the days, were also looking up at the 9 heavens with anticipation. Not long after, a long 5-colored river that was hundreds of feet wide fell from the 9 heavens. Then, according to the degree of participation of each person in breaking the seal, they received the corresponding origin of heaven and earth. Yi Tianzong received half of the origin of heaven and earth. After the infusion of the origin of heaven and earth's feedback, Yi Tianzong's divine origin and divine body were quickly promoted to the peak of the 3rd heaven of myth. However, the consumption of the origin of heaven and earth's origin of heaven and earth was less than 1/20th. Seeing this situation, Yi Tianzong did not hesitate. He directly took out a large number of heaven and earth treasures, and then, with the remaining origin of heaven and earth's origin of heaven and earth, he made a prompt decision to start the 4th refining of the 9 refining nirvana. P.S. Thank you for the support of the readers. Thank you for the recommendation votes and monthly vote. The author thanks you. Chapter 249. When Yi Tianzong started to practice the 4th refining of nirvana, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu, who had come to the top of Tiangang Peak with him, broke through the bottleneck of the 2nd sky of Myth Realm and reached the 3rd sky of Myth Realm with the help of the origin energy. After going through 18 heavenly thunder punishments and the test of the net of heaven and earth's law, their cultivation finally stabilized at the peak of the middle stage of the 3rd sky of Myth Realm. Breaking through to the Myth Realm required going through the heavenly thunder punishments and the test of the net of heaven and earth's law in all the small kiliacosms, medium kiliacosms, and great kiliacosms. Breaking through to the 1st and 2nd sky of Myth Realm required going through 9 heavenly thunder punishments. Breaking through to the third and fourth sky of Myth Realm required going through 18 heavenly thunder punishment. Breaking through to the fifth and sixth sky of Myth Realm required going through 27 heavenly thunder punishment. Breaking through to the Divine King Realm required going through at least 36 heavenly thunder punishments and at most 81 heavenly thunder punishments, depending on the cultivator's accumulation and foundation. After Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu successfully broke through, they noticed Yi Tianzong's situation and knew what Yi Tianzong was going through. This situation was basically the same as when they practiced the 9 refinements of true God. Therefore, they directly guarded Yi Tianzong and waited for Yi Tianzong to finish practicing the secret method. With the support of the pure origin energy of heaven and earth, Yi Tianzong successfully completed the 4th refining of nirvana in less than 2 months. After completing the 4th refining of nirvana, Yi Tianzong's divine origin became more condensed and returned to the late stage of the 3rd sky of Myth Realm. His godly body and godly soul also became more condensed. After experiencing his newfound strength, Yi Tianzong went with Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu to meet Yi Haoran and the others. After showing up at the Hao Ranjin sect a few times, he left behind enough divine connection pills, divine essence pills, divine body pills and divine soul pills before announcing that he would be going into seclusion again. The first 10 years after the expansion of heaven and earth was completed was also the time when the laws of heaven and earth were manifested. It was the best time to cultivate. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu entered the immortal mansion and continued to focus on comprehending the laws of heaven and earth. After another 40 years in the immortal mansion, Yi Tianzong had comprehended 69% of the laws of time and space, and 67% of the laws of light and darkness and the laws of yin and yang. As for the 5 elemental laws of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, due to his experience in the Great Thousand World, he had comprehended about 71% of them. Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu had also comprehended more than one type of law of heaven and earth. Ling Xinyue had comprehended 20% of the laws of time and space, and about 39% of the laws of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Shen Yu had comprehended 23% of the laws of space, 37% of the laws of yin and yang, and 35% of the laws of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. After the expansion of heaven and earth was completed, all that was left was to continuously develop and accumulate strength. After spending 3 months with Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu, Yi Tianzong once again passed through the colorful barrier and entered the Black Heaven sect in the human race's super Great Thousand World. After 5 years in the human race's Great Thousand World, Yi Tianzong once again returned to the Black Heaven sect. This time, as soon as Yi Tianzong's figure appeared in the cultivation cave, he felt a strange movement from heaven and earth. With a thought, Yi Tianzong understood the reason. Before he went into seclusion and disappeared, he was at the 2nd heaven of mythical realm. When he reappeared, he was at the 3rd heaven of mythical realm. Heaven and earth had sensed the change in his aura. This meant that he needed to go through the heavenly lightning tribulation. Seeing this, Yi Tianzong did not hesitate. He directly walked out of the cultivation cave and flew to the area in the Black Heaven sect that was specially divided for the heavenly lightning tribulation. Although he had already passed the heavenly lightning tribulation, Yi Tianzong still did not relax. As an inner sect disciple of the Black Heaven sect who received a lot of attention, Yi Tianzong's act of transcending the heavenly thunder tribulation and breaking through had attracted a lot of attention. Even the sect leader of the Black Heaven sect was watching Yi Tianzong transcend the tribulation from afar. After Yi Tianzong passed the test of the heavenly lightning tribulation and the net of laws, he broke through to the 3rd heaven of mythical realm under the witness of many people in the Black Heaven sect. His cultivation realm soared all the way until it stabilized at the peak of the 3rd heaven of mythical realm. There was no doubt that Yi Tianzong's breakthrough situation caused many people in the Black Heaven sect to be surprised and discuss it. In the past, there were disciples who had a lot of accumulation and had a great improvement in their realm after a breakthrough. However, there was almost no situation like Yi Tianzong, who directly advanced to the peak of the next realm after a breakthrough. This also proved how unfathomable Yi Tianzong's accumulation was. As long as he did not fall midway, his future would be limitless. After Yi Tianzong broke through to the third heaven of mythical realm, he went directly to the assessment hall to verify his identity as a core disciple. After being promoted to a core disciple, Yi Tianzong's identity and status went further. The number of Black Heaven sect disciples who followed Yi Tianzong had exceeded 500 people. With the sect master of the Black Heaven sect as a secret backer, after being promoted to a core disciple, Yi Tianzong did not have any thoughts of hiding his strength and biding his time. In a few days, he began his own challenge journey. The Black Heaven sect was similar to the Hao Ranjun sect in the profound spirit world. The outer sect disciple, inner sect disciple, core disciple, and true disciple, all 4 levels of disciples had a corresponding ranking list of strength. Where there were people, there were battles. When Yi Tianzong was an inner sect disciple, because he was good at alchemy and arranging formations, there were many core disciples and true disciples who wanted to take Yi Tianzong under their command. How could Yi Tianzong agree? However, if Yi Tianzong did not agree, those core disciples and true disciples who failed to recruit Yi Tianzong would not easily let go of him. In the process of suppressing Yi Tianzong, it was inevitable that third heaven and fourth heaven mythical realm disciples of the Black Heaven sect would bully the weak. They wanted to suppress Yi Tianzong and make Yi Tianzong submit. Yi Tianzong did not indulge those who wanted to find trouble to suppress him. He directly went to the life and death arena to fight to the death. As for the fifth heaven mythical realm true disciples, no one dared to fight Yi Tianzong personally. Yi Tianzong was only at the second heaven of mythical realm. It was a bit unreasonable for a fourth heaven mythical realm to suppress him. If a fifth heaven mythical realm disciple personally bullied Yi Tianzong, the higher-ups of the Black Heaven sect would never allow it. Anyone who dared to offend him would not be tolerated. The Black Heaven sect did not forbid fights between disciples because it was inevitable. However, it was absolutely forbidden to blatantly bully the weak and frame others. All fights must be within a controllable range. If a fifth heaven mythical realm true disciple personally suppressed an inner disciple for no reason, the higher-ups of the Black Heaven sect would definitely punish him severely. The lightest punishment would be to cripple his cultivation base and face the wall for 1,000 years. In the more than 1 million years since the establishment of the Black Heaven sect, the sect's implementation of the sect's rules was very good. This was the order given by the 3 great emperor ancestors of the Black Heaven sect. Although the 3 great emperor ancestors did not usually care about the sect's affairs, as long as there was a violation of the sect's rules and the higher-ups of the Black Heaven sect did not handle it properly, they would set things right and be merciless to those who broke the rules. Even their own descendants would be severely punished. The 3 great emperor ancestors were so iron-blooded and upright. Naturally, the higher-ups of the Black Heaven sect were also greatly affected. Under the governance of these people, although the Black Heaven sect did not dare to say that it was absolutely fair and just, the internal strife, conspiracy, and so on were definitely much less than other emperor-level forces. It was also because of this fairer atmosphere in the Black Heaven sect that their strength developed so quickly. From the establishment of the Black Heaven sect until now, it had developed from 1 early great emperor ancestor and 3 divine king realm experts to 3 great emperor ancestors and more than 50 divine king realm experts in just over 1 million years. Moreover, even without the Black Heaven sect's rules, Yi Tianzong himself was not without background and support in the Black Heaven sect. Not to mention the sect master of the Black Heaven sect, There were also many elders who were close to Yi Tianzong's grandfather and parents in this world. In addition, Yi Tianzong himself was very capable and had made a lot of contributions to the sect. These people could not just stand by and watch Yi Tianzong be unfairly bullied. Due to many factors, Yi Tianzong was not reprimanded by the higher-ups of the Black Heaven sect after seriously injuring those core disciples who deliberately looked for trouble in the life and death arena and even killed them. After all, it was not Yi Tianzong's fault. Those who took the initiative to look for trouble could only blame themselves for being beaten up. They could not blame others. The strength ranking of the core disciples recorded the top 300 people in strength. These people were basically late 4th sky or peak 4th sky of Myth Realm disciples. Many of them had fought with Yi Tianzong before. Therefore, Yi Tianzong directly targeted the people on the ranking list when he challenged them. Ordinary core disciples were not his opponents at all. The one who once fought with Yi Tianzong was a core disciple who ranked 293rd. His name was Sun Xuani, and he was peak late 4th sky of Myth Realm. During the battle, Yi Tianzong deliberately hid his strength, so they were evenly matched. But this time, Yi Tianzong planned to teach Sun Xuani a lesson. Sun Xuani was under the command of a peak 5th sky of Myth Realm true disciple. That true disciple was called Wang He. According to rumors, although this person was talented, he was somewhat narrow-minded. He could not bear to see others being more outstanding than him. He often suppressed some core disciples and true disciples who were not as strong as him. His methods were somewhat shady and unpresentable. Birds of a feather flocked together. Sun Xuani was the same kind of person. As the saying goes, when enemies meet, their eyes blaze with hatred. Sun Xuani did not refuse Yi Tianzong's challenge, nor could he refuse it. The two people directly fought on the life and death arena. In the Mystic Sky sect, there were two types, the battle arena and the life and death arena. Under normal circumstances, unless there was a deep hatred or an irreconcilable conflict, the Mystic Sky sect's disciples would fight in the battle arena. But for Yi Tianzong and Sun Xuani, who were known to have no room to maneuver, they could only fight to the death. After all, anyone who knew the situation knew that Sun Xuani had offended Yi Tianzong to the point of death. If it weren't for Yi Tianzong's vigilance, he might have been killed by Sun Xuani and the others. However, Sun Xuani and others did not leave any evidence, so Yi Tianzong could only endure. In the life and death arena, Yi Tianzong did not hesitate to test the waters and then counterattack. He directly used his overwhelming strength to violently push Sun Xuani to the point where he could not raise his head. Under Sun Xuani's resentful and incredulous expression, he died in less than 10 moves by Yi Tianzong. He was annihilated by Yi Tianzong. Chapter 250. Yi Tianzong didn't use much strength after he eliminated Sun Xuani with a domineering and peerless world-suppressing fist. He adjusted his breathing slightly and ignored Wang He and the others who were glaring at him because of Sun Xuani's death. They wanted to tear him into pieces. His expression was normal as he continued his challenge. Yi Tianzong fought those who didn't have a grudge against him, or those who didn't have a grudge against him to a certain extent. He would be merciful as long as his opponent admitted defeat in the end. As for those who had offended him in the past, Yi Tianzong was not merciful at all. Yi Tianzong's challenge to the core disciples caused quite a stir and attracted the attention of the entire mysterious sky sect. The challenge lasted for a total of 10 days. Yi Tianzong didn't challenge one by one. Instead, he challenged a total of 73 people. Under everyone's shocked gaze, Yi Tianzong's battle strength was invincible. He directly pushed his way to the 3rd place on the ranking list. No one could last more than 50 moves against him. The 1st and 2nd place in the ranking list were already in closed-door cultivation and didn't know about this matter. Yi Tianzong also stopped challenging them and returned to his normal state of cultivation, alchemy, formation, and collecting resources. As time passed, the huge storm caused by Yi Tianzong gradually calmed down. However, Yi Tianzong's powerful strength still left a deep impression on everyone in the mysterious sky sect. Don't forget that Yi Tianzong was only at the third heavenly layer of myth. Once he advanced to the fourth heavenly layer of myth, many people at the fifth heavenly layer of myth might not be a match for Yi Tianzong. The sect master of the mysterious sky sect, and some of the higher-ups of the mysterious sky sect who thought highly of Yi Tianzong. After seeing Yi Tianzong's performance, their evaluation of Yi Tianzong increased by several levels. Not only was he stunning, he didn't become arrogant after his victory. Instead, he maintained a calm state and focused on building a good relationship with the disciples of the sect. This was the temperament that a qualified leader's disciple should have. Originally, they thought that Yi Tianzong was lacking in this aspect and needed to be reminded. Unexpectedly, they didn't even need to remind him. Yi Tianzong was very clear on what he should do. Over the next 20 years, not only did Yi Tianzong create divine connection pills, divine essence pills, divine body pills, and divine soul pills, which were the 4 most popular medicinal pills, he also used the resources and materials he gathered to build 2 spirit creation pools to train the outer sect disciples below myth realm. He also purchased the right to use a mountain peak from the sect and named it Haoran Peak. Using 3 medium and 30 small spirit veins, he set up the Haoran Limitless Great Formation, just like the Hao Ranjin sect. He built his own Haoran camp. Once he entered Haoran Peak, he was considered a member of Haoran camp. The people in Haoran camp had to uphold Haoran's righteousness and do things that Haoran was magnanimous. However, they had to give their enemies a taste of their own medicine. This was the rule that Yi Tianzong set for Haoran camp. 20 years had passed, and now there were 50 core disciples, 500 inner sect disciples, and 3,000 outer sect disciples who joined Haoran camp. Many core disciples and true disciples were quite dissatisfied with Yi Tianzong occupying a mountain peak and building Haoran camp. This was especially so when Yi Tianzong openly built a spirit creation pool to train the outer sect disciples. This made the true disciples who had the ambition to fight for the position of the sect master and the higher-ups of the sect master feel deeply threatened. However, what made them even more depressed was that they learned from the upper echelons of the Black Heaven sect that the method to build the creation spirit pool was obtained by Yi Tianzong through an opportunity. He gave this opportunity to the sect, and the sect also promised Yi Tianzong that he could freely build the creation spirit pool to nurture those close to him. Using power to suppress him would not work. None of the core disciples were Yi Tianzong's match. They could not afford to let a true disciple with a higher realm challenge Yi Tianzong. Yi Tianzong could also refuse. At the same time, he would not let others think that he was a coward. After all, if he could not win, then he would be a real fool. It was fine to scheme in the dark once or twice, but if he always used underhanded schemes, not to mention Yi Tianzong, even the higher-ups of the sect would not allow it. Generally speaking, those who could become true disciples of Black Heaven sect were not the kind of people who harbored evil intentions and always thought of using crooked method. Not everyone was as narrow-minded as Wang He, who could not bear to see others being outstanding. For the time being, those core disciples and true disciples who wanted to suppress Yi Tianzong could only watch gloomily as Yi Tianzong's forces and influence grew rapidly, which made them feel very uncomfortable. Yi Tianzong did not care about what happened in the outside world. As long as nothing major happened that could affect the sect, Yi Tianzong had been quietly staying on Haoran Peak, cultivating, comprehending the laws, refining pills, and studying formations. From time to time, he would also explain the mysteries of the myth realm cultivation to the inner and core disciples who followed him on Haoran Peak and answer some of the problems they encountered in cultivation. Just like that, another 20 years passed leisurely. During this period, Yi Tianzong chose a suitable time to break through to the myth realm's 4th layer again. Moreover, after passing through 18 lightning tribulations and the net of laws, he directly advanced to the middle stage of the myth realm's 4th layer. After consolidating his realm, Yi Tianzong spent a lot of contribution points to sell a lot of divine essence pills, divine body pills, and divine soul pills. Finally, he gathered the rare spiritual herbs and heavenly treasures needed to cultivate the fifth nirvana refinement. After a year, he finally completed the fifth nirvana refinement successfully. After advancing to the fourth layer of Myth Realm, Yi Tianzong found time to defeat the first and second place of the core disciple ranking and directly became the first. Then, he returned to his previous state of cultivation, comprehending the laws, refining pills, studying formations, and collecting resources. Another thing worth mentioning was that in the past, in order to train the outer and inner disciples who joined Howren's camp, Yi Tianzong moved the Thousand Elephants formation in the profound spirit world's Hao Ranzhen sect to let them know the position of their strength. According to his own strength and understanding of the strength of the Black Sky sect's disciples, Yi Tianzong set up a set of more powerful Thousand Elephants formation on Howren Mountain. The range of the Thousand Elephants formation's test range was from the Wu King realm to the fourth layer of Myth Realm. In Yi Tianzong's division, the Thousand Elephants formation was still divided into 5 levels: Ordinary, Elite, Heaven's Chosen, King, and Supreme. Each level was further divided into 2 levels, Level 1 and Level 2. It was more detailed than the division of the Hao Ranzhen sect's Thousand Elephants formation. Level 2 Supreme was the position of strength Yi Tianzong gave to his own strength, referring to the strength of the fourth nirvana refinement. Yi Tianzong, who had completed the fifth nirvana refinement, had surpassed Level 2 Supreme. Yi Tianzong's division of strength for each level was spread throughout the Black Sky sect through all the outer disciples, inner disciples, and some core disciples who had participated in the challenge. Many people were interested in the Thousand Elephants formation set up by Yi Tianzong and wanted to experience it for themselves. However, the Thousand Elephants formation was set up on Howren Mountain, and other people were not allowed to enter Howren Mountain without permission. In the end, the sect master of the Black Sky sect came directly to Howren Mountain after hearing the news. After observing the Thousand Elephants formation for a while, he told Yi Tianzong, "This Thousand Elephants formation is very helpful in testing the strength of the sect's disciples. Find some time to set one up in the sect. The sect will provide the materials, and it will save others from always thinking about you." Since the sect master had spoken, what else could Yi Tianzong do? He could only bring the disciples he had taught before to set up a large-scale Thousand Elephants formation in the Black Sky sect. Furthermore, there would be different rewards according to the difficulty of the challenge. After Yi Tianzong finished setting it up, the outer disciples, inner disciples, and core disciples who had long wanted to experience it for themselves entered the Thousand Elephants formation to challenge it. In the end, some people were happy while others were sad. Those who succeeded in the challenge were naturally happy, while those who failed were unhappy and depressed. Through this Thousand Elephants formation, the strength of the outer disciples, inner disciples, and core disciples in the Black Sky sect was clearly divided. What made many disciples and higher-ups of the Black Sky sect somewhat unacceptable was that, among the more than 1 million outer disciples, inner disciples, and core disciples of the Black Sky sect, less than 100,000 disciples had reached the elite level. There were about 6,000 people who had reached the prodigy level, and only about 30 of them had reached the king level. Only one of them had barely reached the king level, and he was once the number 1 of the core disciples. Of course, there was no one at the supreme level, except for Yi Tianzong. This kind of result was unacceptable to many of the Black Sky sect's disciples who thought highly of themselves. Many higher-ups of the Black Sky sect also could not accept it. Later, there were even many true disciples at the peak of the fifth sky of Myth Realm. Under the instructions of the higher-ups of the Black Sky sect, they sealed their cultivation to the peak of the fourth sky of Myth Realm and entered the Thousand Elephants formation to be tested, allowing them to challenge the king level and the supreme level. As a result, the King level passed smoothly, but the King level 2 had some difficulty. Almost all of the people at the Supreme level fought for a long time and withdrew with their heads and faces covered in dirt. Only a few people passed very reluctantly. The second Supreme level was blasted out in a face-to-face confrontation and was completely annihilated. This kind of result once again caused a great uproar in the Black Sky sect. Those true disciples were at the peak of the fifth sky of Myth realm. Even if they sealed their cultivation, they still had the comprehension of the realm, the law, and the realm of the divine body and the divine soul. In the face of the supreme level difficulty of the 1,000 elephants formation, only a few people barely passed. The second supreme level difficulty was blasted out without any power to fight back. This supreme level difficulty was too crazy, wasn't it? Was the person who arranged this formation blind? The disciples and higher-ups of the Black Sky sect could not accept this, so they directly called Yi Tianzong over. They wanted to see how Yi Tianzong had passed through the 1,000 elephants formation. In order to improve his status in the Black Sky sect, Yi Tianzong did not decline and directly showed his strength. After a little effort, he passed the first supreme level difficulty. Then, after fighting for half an hour, he passed the second supreme level difficulty with some difficulty. When the result came out, the disciples and higher-ups of the Black Sky sect finally fell silent. The facts proved that Yi Tianzong was not blind, but they were too weak. It turned out that they still had a long way to go. Everyone had to accept this cruel fact. After encouraging the disciples of the Black Sky sect, the higher-ups of the Black Sky sect let the disciples of the Black Sky sect disperse. They also strictly ordered that today's matter should not be spread out. P.S. Please recommend and add this to your collection. Chapter 251. Yi Tianzong's days in the Black Heaven sect returned to normal. The only difference was that because of his amazing performance and strength in the 1,000 elephant formation, the number of disciples in the Black Heaven sect who joined Howren's camp had more than doubled, reaching more than 7,000 people. The number of core disciples had reached more than 120 people. According to the difficulty level of the 1,000 elephant formation set up by Yi Tianzong and the performance of the peak 5th heavenly layer myth true disciples who had their cultivation sealed, everyone in the Black Heaven sect knew that although Yi Tianzong was only at the middle 4th heavenly layer of myth true disciples, his strength had definitely reached the peak 5th heavenly layer of myth true disciples. When he advanced to the 6th heavenly layer of myth true disciples, he would definitely be a super powerhouse among the true disciples and one of the powerful contenders for the sect's upper echelons in the future. While Yi Tianzong continued to cultivate, the Black Heaven sect's upper echelons increased the investment and construction of the creation spirit pool. Through the test results of the 1,000 elephant formation, they found that the Black Heaven sect's disciples who had experienced the baptism of the creation spirit pool were generally at least one level stronger than those who had not. The creation spirit pool in the profound spirit world could help cultivators increase their potential and foundation. It could even help them cultivate special physique. It could also play a role in the human race's colossal world. After all, the same spiritual herbs, spiritual materials, and other treasures contained different origins and medicinal effects in the colossal world and the colossal world. An ordinary person who grew up in the colossal world would be much stronger than an ordinary person who grew up in the colossal world, whether it was strength or origin foundation. The young elites who could enter an emperor-level force like the Black Heaven sect were all talented people. In the profound spirit world, they were at least at the level of geniuses. Now, with the baptism of the creation spirit pool to strengthen their foundation, the Black Heaven sect's disciples would definitely be stronger than emperor-level forces of the same level in the long run. Yi Tianzong had no plans to take out the higher-level creation spirit pool for the time being. He planned to take it out when he advanced to the peak 6th heavenly layer of myth true disciples or the divine king realm. His cultivation was too low now, so it was not a good thing to take it out too early. In any case, the entire world would be his in the future, and the Black Heaven sect was just a starting point. He could use the Black Sky sect to continuously collect all kinds of resources, enhance his own strength, and promote the development of the Black Sky sect at the same time. It was a win-win situation. Take your time to develop. What's the rush? Day after day, year after year. In the blink of an eye, 30 years had passed. Under the planning of the Mystic Sky sect's higher-ups, the strength of the Mystic Sky sect's disciples was steadily increasing as time passed. More and more disciples had reached the elite and Heaven's Pride level. As for the King level, it was not that easy to reach it. In the past 30 years, only 20 disciples had reached the King level. And all of them were King level 1 disciples. None of them had reached King level 2. If one wanted to reach the King rank, not only would they need sufficient cultivation resources, techniques, and divine abilities, but they would also need the cultivator's own efforts and opportunities. It was impossible to increase a lot in a short period of time. Even so, the higher-ups of the Black Heaven sect were quite satisfied. They knew how difficult it was to become a disciple of the martial saint level. However, as long as the number of challenger-level disciples increased, the Black Heaven sect's strength would increase significantly in the future. This was because, according to their own comparison, they discovered that disciples who had reached the King realm all had the opportunity to advance to the God King realm in the future. As long as they had 300 challenger-level disciples, even if only 1/10 of them were to advance to the God King realm, the Black Heaven sect's strength would increase significantly. When they thought about how many God Kings would appear in the Black Heaven sect in the future, the higher-ups of the Black Heaven sect were overjoyed. In the past 30 years, Yi Tianzong had been keeping a low profile. He cultivated quietly, comprehended the laws of heaven and earth, refined pills, studied formations, and refined weapons. From time to time, he would guide the Black Heaven sect's disciples in their cultivation, answer their questions, and collect resources. Although it was peaceful, he was busy and orderly. During this period, Yi Tianzong even took the time to return to the profound spirit world and stayed there for 2 years. He left behind 100,000 divine pills, 300,000 divine essence pills, 150,000 divine body pills, and 80,000 divine soul pills for the Hao Ranjin sect, as well as countless materials for refining weapons. Then, Yi Tianzong once again rearranged the spirit-gathering formation on the 7 mountains occupied by the Hao Ranjin sect, including Tiangang Peak. In the 50 years that Yi Tianzong spent in the human race's colossal world, he collected another 50 medium-sized spirit veins and 500 small-sized spirit veins. He used 35 medium-sized spirit veins and 350 small-sized spirit veins to strengthen the spirit-gathering formation on the 7 mountains, making the Hao Ranjin sect's cultivation environment even better. The remaining medium-sized spirit veins and small-sized spirit veins were all sacrificed to the will of heaven and earth in exchange for increasing the success rate of the Hao Ranjin sect's mythical realm experts to break through within 5 years. The rest of the time was spent with Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu, living the life of an immortal couple. After 2 years, Yi Tianzong left a large amount of cultivation resources for the two of them and then continued to return to the Black Heaven sect in the human race's colossal world. It was not until 30 years after the 1,000 Elephant Formation was set up that Yi Tianzong's cultivation base rose to the peak of the 4th heaven of Mythical Realm. After reaching the 4th heaven of Mythical Realm, Yi Tianzong's cultivation base could not have any more breakthroughs due to the restrictions of the profound spirit world. Next, other than continuing to deepen his accumulation and complete the 6th refining of nirvana, Yi Tianzong had nothing else to do. However, to complete the 6th refining of nirvana, he needed a lot of precious heaven and earth treasures, and there was only a small portion of them in the Black Heaven sect. In order to quickly gather the required resources, Yi Tianzong could only think of the most direct and effective way, which was to exchange for them at the War God Temple in the World Battlefield, trial battlefield. There were countless heaven and earth treasures and various resources in the war god temple in the world battlefield. There were even many rare treasures that did not exist in the colossal world. Yi Tianzong was sure that he would be able to gather all the treasures and resources needed to cultivate the ninth refining of nirvana in the war god temple. The only thing he needed was a lot of battle achievements. Therefore, after staying in the Black Heaven sect for another 10 years and preparing all the resources, elixirs, and weapons he needed, Yi Tianzong made a request to the higher-ups of the Black Heaven sect to enter the world battlefield again. To be honest, the higher-ups of the Black Heaven sect did not really want to agree to Yi Tianzong's request. In the past, Yi Tianzong did not show it, so they did not know about it. However, Yi Tianzong's contributions to the sect, personal strength, and style of doing things all made the higher-ups of the Black Heaven sect very satisfied. They had long regarded Yi Tianzong as an important higher-up of the sect in the future. They did not want Yi Tianzong to enter the world battlefield again to take risk. If he encountered people from other worlds or other supreme forces, Yi Tianzong might not be able to return safely. If anything happened to Yi Tianzong, it would be a great loss to the Black Heaven sect. However, Yi Tianzong's reasons were very good. First of all, he had no opponents in the sect. Those true disciples of the sixth celestial layer would not be able to pose a threat to him after he reached the fifth celestial layer. Once he reached the sixth celestial layer, he would be the strongest. This was not beneficial to his future cultivation path. He needed to find stronger opponents to temper himself and forge a stronger foundation. Secondly, if he did not go to the world battlefield but challenged the disciples of other forces in the colossal world, there was no guarantee that the other forces would give him a fair chance to fight. In order to prevent him from being a threat after he grew up, those emperor-level and supreme forces would definitely kill him in advance. In the world battlefield, he could guarantee a fair chance to fight against the prodigies of other forces and other worlds. In the end, after much consideration, the higher-ups of the Black Heaven sect agreed to Yi Tianzong's request to go to the world battlefield. A month later, Yi Tianzong followed the Black Heaven sect's team and set off for the world battlefield. This time, the team was led by 3 sixth heaven mythological realm elders. There were a total of 300 people in the team, and all of them were core disciples. Yi Tianzong, these core disciples, and the 3 elders would stay in the world battlefield for hundreds of years. Along the way, whether it was the 3 sixth heaven mythological realm elders or the other core disciples, they were all very polite to Yi Tianzong. Yi Tianzong's strength was well known in the Black Heaven sect. An ordinary 6th heaven mythological realm disciple might not be able to defeat him. On the world battlefield, an existence like Yi Tianzong's strength was off the charts, which meant that he had a higher chance of survival. The Black Heaven sect's team kept a low profile all the way. When they saw the teleportation stargate standing in the vast world again, Yi Tianzong was still in disbelief. After crossing the teleportation stargate, Yi Tianzong and the others finally arrived at the Black Heaven sect's stronghold on the second layer of the world battlefield after being informed by the 3 sixth heaven mythological realm elders. The 3 sixth heaven mythological realm elders, who led the team, previously returned to the Black Heaven sect. They did not have the immunity talisman, so it was impossible for them to enter the second layer of the world battlefield. The Black Heaven sect only had one stronghold on the second layer of the world battlefield. This stronghold was a city that occupied an area of 100 miles. The stronghold was filled with people from the Black Heaven sect. There were about 8,000 people in the stronghold, and they were led by a peak 6th heaven mythological realm elder who had the immunity talisman. The arrival of Yi Tianzong and the others was welcomed by the commander elder. The elder who led the Black Heaven sect's stronghold was called Xianchen. He was the 3rd inner disciple of the Black Heaven sect's sect master. His strength was ranked in the top 5 among all the 6th heaven mythological realm experts in the Black Heaven sect. Xianchen had been in charge of the world battlefield for more than 70 years. Over the years, as the Black Heaven sect's disciples came to the world battlefield one after another, Xian Chun also knew some information about Yi Tianzong. Xian Chun and Yi Tianzong's parents, who had died in this world, were of the same generation. Although they were not very close, they definitely did not have any grudges. Xian Chun had long wanted to see Yi Tianzong, who was talented and powerful. Now that he saw Yi Tianzong, and felt the aura that was faintly emitted from Yi Tianzong's body that was even more powerful than a peak fifth heaven mythological realm expert, Xian Chun could not help but secretly admire Yi Tianzong's strength. As he valued and thought highly of Yi Tianzong, Xian Chun directly arranged the position of captain for Yi Tianzong to lead 500 disciples of the Black Heaven sect. Yi Tianzong did not decline and accepted Xian Chun's kindness. The other disciples of the Black Heaven sect had no objections to having a powerful captain like Yi Tianzong. In order to respond to Xian Chun's kindness, Yi Tianzong asked Xian Chun for a large amount of materials and resources on the second day after he settled down. He set up a set of Howran infinite formation for the stronghold of the Black Heaven sect, Black Heaven City. It could defend against the simultaneous attacks of 6th heaven mythological realm experts to the greatest extent.